She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace. She the queen, yeah, that's Queen Esquire. Legal trouble, she getting you out the fire. Another dame, she solving another case. Cause she litigate with dignity and grace.
Period. 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 Yeah. Period. Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. Y'all got to get up in here. I don't know if you guys are familiar. I don't usually do a lot of celebrity gossip, but this whole mess with Halle Bailey, or is it Halle Bailey, and DDG is just too crazy and too tempting not to discuss. And I wanted us to get in here today and unravel the drama that is unfolding in this child custody battle, because it is a legal court proceeding that is going on. And considering I am an attorney, I would like to come and have us talk about the both sides. And I want to hear your opinion about what do you guys think. So before we get into it, I just want to explain who is Halle Bailey, who is DDG, just in case people don't know who they are. Halle Bailey, she is a celebrity singer. She's signed under Beyonce. She has a sister named Chloe. She's a pretty well-known singer, and she also recently starred as Little Mermaid in the movie version of Little Mermaid. Hi, Diana. How are you, love? Welcome to the chat. So she's a pretty well-known singer. She sings really beautifully. She kind of has this very soft voice, so she comes off as very angelic. She's played in a lot of movies. She's actually played in The Color Purple as well, in addition to Little Mermaid, and she's actually starring in another movie. She sings really well with her sister, Chloe Halle, and she's released a lot of albums called The Kids Are All Right, Ungodly Hour. She's earned 5 Grammy Award nominations. She's also sang Angel and a couple of other songs. She's been in the TV show Grownish. So that's kind of her background, just so you guys know who she is. There's some people who aren't familiar with her, so I want to give you a very brief summary of who she is before we get into this crazy mess. And then DDG, I didn't really know about him until he started dating Halle Bailey, but according to my research of the guy, he is more of like a troublemaker on YouTube. He has been on YouTube a while. He has millions of followers. Like, most of them are young kids. They follow him. He also has been struggling to become a rapper for many years. Also somewhat of a boxer. He has a history in boxing, but he's known for just causing a lot of controversy. Hi, Laura. I love you, girl. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. That gives me a lot of encouragement, Laura. Thank you for that nice comment. So I really want us to unravel this story, because if you guys haven't been keeping up, both of this couple is a hot, complete mess. Okay, so DDG and Halle were a pretty hot commodity, I would say, for from 2021 all the way to towards October 2024 of last year. Okay, she's in her early 20s. I think she's about 25 now, and DDG is he is 27, so he's a couple years older than her. Now, guys, this story is a hot mess. So basically, we were sitting here watching this couple. They looked like they were just the most happy couple on earth. I also met them when I was Miss Black USA. I went to a very cool event with an art event. It was ran by Tina Knowles, Beyonce Knowles' mom. So a lot of amazing celebrities were there at this event. I got to meet, I met Tyler Perry. There's so many celebrities I met that night. Kelly Rowland, There's a long list, but I also met DDG and Halle. And I'm gonna keep it real. DDG was very rude towards me, and Halle had a little attitude towards me as well at that event. So I kind of side-eyed them after meeting them. The other celebrities were pretty nice, but she was not friendly, nor was DDG very friendly towards me. What happened in that incident between DDG, Halle, and myself, I was taking a photograph of some individuals, and when I stepped back, I accidentally stepped on DDG's shoe, and he gave me the most dirty stare. I was like pleading with them to apologize because I didn't see them, and they just kind of gave me this little nonchalant attitude. It was just so rude and unfriendly. And I was just like, wow, everybody else at the event, the other celebrities were really nice to me. They were just, sweet, kind people. But Halle and DDG, they were off the hook. So after that, I kind of side-eyed them, y'all. And it was just like a hot mess. Okay. So let's get into the story. So anyways, they had a cute little baby named Halle. And their little son, he has been pretty much the star of the show online. DDG does content with him. Halle does content with him. So for the year when Halle got pregnant with her child back in 2023. So in March of 2023, she was pregnant with her child. Of course, us as the public, we didn't know about her being pregnant. Well, I actually did know. She hid her pregnancy the whole year. She was involved in Color Purple during that year. She also released Little Mermaid that year. But during that whole year, she hid her pregnancy. There was a lot of people online speculating that she was pregnant, but she hid it all the way up until December when she had the child. And then she released a photograph, releasing what everybody had already accused her of. They knew she was pregnant, but she was hiding it, understandably enough, because she was a pretty prevalent celebrity and she was going to be a Disney star. So she didn't want her reputation to be tarnished with her being, pregnant. And so she hid it that whole year. But underneath all of this, you guys, there was a lot of drama unfolding. Now, DDG is known for causing a lot of controversy online. For example, DDG has accused people of being racist, like when he doesn't get his way. For example, he went to a clothes store with his girlfriend, Halle at the time, and he tried to return a jacket that cost in the millions. It was a pretty expensive jacket. Probably wasn't a million. Don't quote me on that. I think it was like $10,000 or something like that, or maybe 15 grand, I think. And he went and used that expensive jacket for a music video, and then he tried to return it back. And the store clerk rejected his coat because she said it smelled like cigarettes, and she also had followed him online, and she saw that he had worn it in a music video. She said, "You already had previously worn this jacket, and it smells like cigarettes, so I can't return it." So he went online tarnishing this woman's name, claiming she was a racist and called him an N-word. When it turns out he completely lied about that situation, and it resulted in thousands of his fans harassing this woman, causing emotional distress. She was felt unsafe, endangering her safety at her store. DDG also called a woman racist that worked at a nail salon, actually a woman who was pregnant. You guys, this woman was 8 months pregnant. She was a nail salon technician. And of course, Halle Bailey had went to this nail tech to get her nails done. And her sister ran about 30 minutes late for the appointment. And the nail technician said, "I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cancel your sister's appointment because she's 30 minutes late. So we have other people coming in. We have another appointment." And Halle was very upset about this. She was also pregnant at this time. And she went online and she told everybody that she felt hurt that this nail technician had done this. Well, DDG came online and then he went and lied and called this nail technician a racist and how she was being racist towards his girlfriend. And you guys, this was crazy. This caused a lot of threats to come towards this 8-month pregnant nail tech woman. The woman came online. She was crying. She looked like she was under distress. She felt unsafe there. And I just felt that to be very malicious on the part of Halle because she allowed her boyfriend to cause this a volume of threat to come towards this other pregnant woman when Halle herself was pregnant at the time. You would think she would have been more empathetic and understanding to a fellow pregnant woman while she herself was also late in her pregnancy. So those kind of controversies have been going on in the public's eye when behind closed doors, this entire relationship had been volatile. So let's just talk about what has happened recently. So recently, after they had the relationship, they broke up in October, and after they broke up in October of last year, cracks started to unfold. We started hearing more information about their stories, and first things first, DDG came out with this allegation that Halle was keeping the child from him, preventing visitation rights. But then shortly thereafter, Halle turned around and she said, well, she came online in her Snapchat and she claimed that, no, this is not true. My son is sick with RSV and I'm sick with RSV. And, she tried to explain on Snap that, her kid was not feeling well. So people put two and two together to say, oh, well, DDG's selfish. He's trying to take the kid while the kid's sick. And that caused a whole debacle. People online were telling DDG if he really wanted his child, he should go pursue child visitation rights. Okay, go to court. Well, he decided not to do that. He said, well, I want to protect, the situation. I don't want to do anything. A lot of people didn't believe DDG because DDG goes around online and he lies a lot. Hi, Bo Johnson. Hi, Dan. Hi, everybody. Okay. So anyways, they lie a lot. So a lot of people didn't believe DDG. Well, a few weeks later, now we're back to the situation where we're in now. So just 21 days ago, Halle filed a restraining order against DDG. She accused DDG of ongoing abuse in the restraining order. So people was really shocked and surprised. They were like, oh my God. And DDG, this is not the first time DDG has been accused of physical violence. In fact, his prior girlfriend, Ruby Rose, accused him of the same physical violence that Halle herself had accused him of. So let's go over first Halle's allegations, and then we'll go over DDG. So Halle Bailey and her son, Hallo, were granted a restraining order against Bailey's ex and Hallo's father, the YouTuber and rapper DDG. His legal name is Daryl Granberry Jr. According to May 13 filings obtained by Vulture, in the court documents, Bailey alleges multiple instances of violent behavior, and she says she is seeking orders to protect myself and our son from this ongoing abuse. He must stay at least 100 yards away from Bailey and Hallo until their hearing on June 6th. Additionally, he can take Hallo with her to Italy, where she is going to film a new movie for 8 weeks beginning June 7th. Bailey also requested that DDG be barred from discussing her on social media platforms, including on his live streams. Court documents cite DDG May 5th Twitch live stream broadcasted while Bailey attended the Met Gala. He went live on his Twitch channel, voicing that he was unable to see his son, implying that I was keeping Hallo from him, she says in the filming. He then created a firestorm of media around freeing Hallo from me. That's what Bailey said in her court documents. Online personalities, including DJ Academics, have fueled speculation that Bailey was lying about her relationship with DDG. She added that given the fact that Daryl's mother and I have texted about my whereabouts a week prior, and Daryl did not wish to see Hallo after his last visit, the timing of his Twitch post was intended to ruin my night, which it did. She said the first alleged instance of abuse took place in January after the two broke up on October 2024. Bailey says DDG came over to pick up Hallo when she started a conversation about Hallo's visitation schedule. He told her, "Get out of my car," BITCH, multiple times, per TMZ. Bailey grew nervous about leaving Hallo with him, and we fought each other, wrestling and tussling, according to BBC. At one point, Daryl, which is DDG, was pulling my hair. He then slammed my face on the steering wheel, causing my tooth to get chipped. I then stopped fighting back as I was in a lot of pain. Bailey included photos of bruises on her arms and a chipped tooth in the claim. On March 3rd, Bailey claims DDG entered her home without permission, took a photo of her bed caption, and then DDG said, "Now I know what you've been on, LOL," and accused her of having sex with other men. When Bailey says she didn't want to let him take a sick Halle, DDG allegedly yelled at her, unplugged her Ring doorbell, and threw it when he realized it was recording them. After Bailey went outside to get the doorbell, the filing alleges that Granberry locked her out of the house. Upon realizing the Ring was still recording, he allegedly smashed it. He then took her phone and threw it out the car window as he left, yelling, "Go get it, bitch." As a result of this incident, Bailey says she filed a police report. Now, this part right here, she filed a police report. You guys, that was pretty suspicious to me when I first read this story 21 days ago, because I was like, me as an experienced attorney, when she said she filed a police report regarding domestic violence, immediately my spidey ears went tingling because I knew something was wrong. When a person has photographs of physical injury, which she did show photos of her arm that shows like red marks where she was being grabbed, and she had a very small, tiny chipped tooth. If she were to submit this to an officer, they would have immediately sent it to the district attorney and they would have filed criminal charges. But there was nowhere in the police reports showing that he was arrested, that he is facing misdemeanor charges. None of that, you guys. So automatically I knew that something was wrong with her allegations, because I was like, this doesn't sound right. She's filing a police report, yet there's no criminal charges filed at all. So that wasn't making sense to me. I felt like there was more to this story than what she was alleging. But let's continue. She went on to then say DDG reacted to the restraining order live on video. Streamer and Trump advocate Aiden Ross Twitch streamed the night on May 13th. A confused and indignant DDG read the TMZ report, saying in response, "But that can't be real. According to court documents, a judge granted Bailey an ex parte order, a legal decision made without a response from the other side, due to her fear that the violence wouldn't reoccur when I gave notice that I was asking for these orders, or that the other party would take the child out of the area before the order would get served." So when people first saw this, everybody went into a frenzy. People were shocked. Fans on both sides were defending one another, defending their, whoever their person they're a fan of. They started defending DDG, and other sides were accusing DDG because a lot of people didn't like him for her in the first place. Okay. So here were the photos that she showed of the bruises on her arms. Here she has kind of like, you can see right here where her arms were grabbed. You see here, her arms were grabbed. And then she showed another photo. And here, this is the part of her story that doesn't make sense here, right? She said as she was buckling Halle in the car seat, she claims DDG grew agitated and repeatedly said, "Get out my car, B." Halle says the baby was crying. She got nervous about DDG leaving with him in such an agitated manner. That's when they allegedly started wrestling, with DDG pulling her hair, slamming her face on his steering wheel, and chipping her tooth. Halle says she was in pain and crying, and although that stopped the fighting, she was still worried about Halle. So she remained in the car for the ride over to DDG's house, where she told his family what happened. Now, this story right here, when I heard that story, and here's her chip tooth right here. You can see just this part right here. Where she says he slammed her head and caused this little chip tooth right here. And actually, in January 2025, she did post a video of her on Snapchat with the chipped tooth. And she said, I chipped my tooth and I'm, having to go to the dentist. I'm really nervous about it because I've never been to the dentist. But guys, when I first heard the story about this whole fight in the car, I knew something was off about it. The story didn't make sense. First and foremost, she says when she was buckling her son in the car seat, she asked him about visitation schedule. And then he started to get angry at her, told her to get out the car, B. She says, she decided not to because he was angry, so she just decided to stay in the car, and then claims they both started wrestling. First and foremost, I could tell she wasn't telling a full story about what really went on in that car. She says she remained in the car after he had chipped her tooth. Why? Number one, why would you keep your child and yourself in a vehicle when your baby's father is angry and violent towards you? If I was attacked by my baby's father, which I don't have a kid right now, but if I were attacked in that manner, I would have took my child and I would have got the heck out of that car and just called the police immediately and filed a police report. She didn't do any of that, which made me see that the whole story is not, something about the story doesn't sound right. It sounds like to me they were mutually fighting each other. She seems to be the type of person who is kind of doesn't want to let go of the child, doesn't want to let go of the situation, and that's why she stayed in the car. That's what I was thinking when I first heard the story. So here she showed the chipped tooth, and then she said once they told her they'd take care of the baby. So she rode in the car with him. She got to the house, she was crying profusely, right? And then she went and talked to DDG's family. As she remained in the car, she talked to DDG's family, allegedly. She was crying, and then she said she had bruises on her arms, and she had a chipped tooth, and she told the family about it, and they said just to leave the baby there, and they take care of it, so she left. This part didn't make sense either, guys. They said, okay, look, she drove, and apparently, according to DDG, Halle lives substantially farther away from DDG. Okay, they live he said he lives like hours away from Halle. I don't know how that's possible if they both live in LA, but he claims that he lives a long distance away from Halle, and he usually has to drive to get her he said all the time she never comes to drop the kid off. So that didn't make sense to me that if she rode in the car with DDG to his house, which is a long distance away from her home, how did she get back home? She said she just left hysterical. If you don't have a car, did you get an Uber? Did you Uber home? Like, how did you get home? She doesn't tell, but it seems like she's leaving bits and pieces of her story out of her declaration. It's like she doesn't explain how she got home. She doesn't explain the full extent of what this altercation was in that car. She doesn't explain why all of a sudden DDG became angry with her. It just sounds like she's trying to paint this situation in a way that makes her look like this innocent, fragile person, which a lot of people are inclined to believe because she has this very soft, gentle voice. She seems to be very sweet, very innocent type woman. So, people are more inclined to believe her. Okay. So she also alleges DDG creeped her out in March when he showed up to her home, entered without permission, went to her bedroom, texted a picture of her empty bed. And that's the one we talked about. Halle says she interpreted the text that's what we talked about. So you see this a picture of them in happy times. Let's see. She says again 4 days later, she claims that DDG really exploded when he came back to her house. Halle told him she and the baby were sick and she didn't want Halle to leave. And she claims that's when he got verbally abusive. He smashed her Ring camera, ran away with Halle's phone. As he drove off, she claims DDG threw the phone out his window, yelled to her, "Go get it, BITCH." The incident prompted Halle to go to file a police report, and she says she also has the Ring footage to back up her story. So this is the second time she claims that she filed a police report. The first time she said she filed a police report was because of the fight in the car. Now she's saying this time when he grabbed her Ring camera and threw it and ran off, and then took her phone and threw it and said, "Go get it, B." She says she basically filed a police report. Now, again, this doesn't make sense, you guys, because if she filed this police report, again, then the law enforcement would have came out and investigated it, and they possibly would have filed some type of criminal charges such as vandalism, of the vandalism of her property, of her Ring camera footage, her Ring camera and her phone. But there is no alleged police reports. This man apparently has not been charged with any criminal charges. So again, that story to me did not make sense. It sounds like she only filed these police reports during the time frame of filing her restraining order, so several months after these incidents occurred. It was also around this time that DDG claimed on X he had been fighting to see Halle for months. So now here is a screenshot, you guys, of the text messages that Halle showed the court, showing proof, that DDG had been harassing her. So this was this year on Mother's Day. DDG wrote, "This is foul, bet." So basically he posted a picture of Halle when she was out of town. And he claimed that she had been dating a celebrity named Brent Falias, which turned out to be false. You can see here, this is a photo of the guy that he thinks that she's in a relationship with, because DDG believed DJ academics who claimed that she had been seeing this guy. Now, mind you guys, even though they have a son together, at this time, they're not in a relationship. So this text message exchange is really questionable. It's like, well, why does he care who she's with? You could argue that he cares who she's with because she has a son and he probably doesn't want his son around another man. But if she's no longer in a relationship with this man, she could be with whoever she wants at this point. Here, DDG can't see his son. This is somebody, academics is posting this. DDG can't see his son because Halle took Halle to be with Brent Fayez in St. Lucia, treacherous. When this is all fake news, you guys, turns out she wasn't even dating this guy. There was a photo of him with a whole different woman at that trip, during that trip. So that was fake news. So this is a copy text message here from DDG, right? DDG says, "You think you hurting my feelings when you really just ruining your own image? This is a terrible look. Makes you look disgusting and evil. Enjoy your vacation. Happy Mother's Day. But just have the same energy when it's my turn to have him. I'm on the same SHIT." Okay, so look at his energy here with the messages that he sent to her, okay? For Halle, though, the final straw came just last weekend when she says she was vacationing with Halle and her sister in St. Lucia. She says DDG texted her links to social media posts claiming she was on the island with singer Brent Fayez. That's what we just said there. Halle replied, "Not with any man out here. I wouldn't do that. I have Halle. Please let me enjoy my Mother's Day in peace. I hope you are okay and feel better soon." So here is a cute little photo of the baby here who's involved in all this. He is so cute. Look at him. He just stole the heart of the whole world. Everybody loves little Halle. The parents seem jacked up, but they love Halle, okay? So now let me explain what happened with this situation. So when a person goes to file a restraining order, a person can file an emergency restraining order ex parte. What that means is the situation is such a immediate emergency that the party or the petitioner, which is the person filing the restraining order, they can file that unilaterally without the other side being present. So they'll go to court, they'll talk to the judge, but the other side at that time will not be aware of this hearing happening. They won't even know until there's a determination by the court that they're going to grant what is called a temporary restraining order. And usually a temporary restraining order requires a very low burden of proof. It's a preponderance of the evidence. That's as opposed to the more big burden of proof, which is proof beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal proceeding. So if a person wants a temporary restraining order, they do have to provide some substantial evidence, such as supporting, police reports, declarations, photos, text messages, stuff like that. They have to support it with substantial evidence for the judge to grant that order. Now, if they grant a temporary restraining order at that time, which in this case, they granted her temporary restraining order. So once they grant it, then they will turn around. Right, Christina, she said so sweet and so innocent, but is she really? No, so girl, we're going to find out today. Yeah, I want to hear what you guys got to say. We're presenting the evidence right now, Tavia and Christina, and I want to hear your take on who you think what story you believe, okay? And I'll give you mine. But anyways, continue on. So during this time frame, DDG was not aware that this proceeding was happening. His attorney was not advised, but the judge looked at her evidence and he determined that it was enough evidence for him to grant a temporary restraining order. Once he granted that temporary restraining order, then now the sheriff has to go out and personally serve the opposing party or their attorney with that restraining order, okay? Now, in that order, the court basically gave her sole custody, temporary sole custody, not permanent, temporary, until this whole issue is heard in an actual hearing. And they hear from both sides at the hearing. So what they did was at this time, they granted her temporary sole custody, because what she was asking for, she's asking for sole custody, and she's only asking for him to have I think like 6 hours of supervised visitation, which I felt was unreasonable on her part, because I don't feel like, even though she says he's violent, I don't feel she gave enough evidence to take sole custody. I feel like maybe it could be joint custody, but they don't have any contact with each other, because it seems like the parents are having issues, but it doesn't seem like he actually has endangered the child. So with that being said, the court said, okay, we're going to give you temporary custody. You can take your child to Italy, because she wanted to take her child to Italy because she's actually filming a movie called Italiana with that hot guy from, oh man, what is that? Bridgerton. There's a hot guy on Bridgerton. She's filming in this movie called Italiana. And so she needed to go to Italy. So she was like, Your Honor, can I get permission to take my kid to Italy, to film in a pretty big movie in Italy. And I want to be able to take my baby, and I want to be able to prohibit DDG from taking the kid out of the state. Again, I thought that was unfair, because I was like, well, Halle, you haven't really given proof that he's done anything. I know he's threatened to do, threatened to take the child, but I don't feel like she really gave significant proof to raise the burden for him to not be able to take the kid out of the state. I just felt like that was a little unfair on her end. I was just like, okay, Halle, I get where your position is, girl. I get that you're saying you're being abused, and I am totally against abuse, 100% against abuse. Here, let me show you first the images of the actors and the actresses in this movie, Italiana, really quick, just so you know what I'm talking about. So June 7th of this month, she's supposed to be flying out to Italy. She asked for permission to take her kid the 7th of June so that she can go to Italy and take her baby with her to be with the nanny while she films this movie called Italiana. And that man right next to her, he is so hot, y'all. He's gonna be in the movie. She's so lucky, girl, you better. I'm just saying. Anyways, so she's supposed to be filming this movie, and she wanted to take the kid out, but then she doesn't want DDG to be able to take the kid out. I was like, girl, bye. I don't understand this girl. Okay, I get that she's being abused, and I'm totally against abuse, but you're kind of taking this man's kid away, and you're not telling us what he done to the child. I mean, she hasn't said, has he endangered the child? Has he beat the child? Has he hurt the child? I don't know. I do get her point that she's saying he's being violent in front of the child. But again, there's always two sides to the story, you guys. And I felt like she was given half the side, but she wasn't giving us the full story. And Halle has also admitted on camera before that she seems innocent and she has a soft voice. But she said there's another side to her. She said, when I love somebody and I care about somebody, I will be loud and I will go off on somebody. I will, cuss people out and stuff. She said that in a video, y'all. So that was, she's an Aries, y'all. So, and she admitted to being a toxic person. She said, I am a toxic person. So that's why a lot of people was like, girl, you went on camera telling us that you admit to being violent. I don't know. People was side-eyeing her. They were posting videos back and forth. And so people was kind of in the middle. And I was like, the girl's not innocent. I was still thinking back to what she did to that pregnant nail tech. So I was like, I don't know about you, Halle. I feel like both of y'all a little toxic. And it might be something going on. I don't know what's going on. That's why I didn't want to say anything yet. I waited until he gave his side before I came out with this, because I was like, let me hold up, because I'm going to do this video about what she said. And then I'm going to probably look like a fool later on, because he's going to come with his side, which he has today. Okay. So anyway, after she posted her side, oh my gosh, y'all, it was a hot mess. DDG's mom came out defending her son. She was like, you're lying on I don't like when people lying on what's, my kid. I'm going to defend what's mine. Then the sister came out saying, she reposted a video, and she said she reposted a video of Halle basically admitting that she could be toxic. So we have family, we have people coming out. Let me just show you a screenshot of what DDG's mom said, though, in the meantime, so y'all can see. So DDG's mom posted this in her story. Okay. She was like, And people went in on DDG's mom. You know, they were defending Halle. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little feeling empathy for Halle too. And so I was like, you know, I was kind of heated about the mom at first as well. Because, you know, sometimes mamas will defend their kids even when their kid is flat out wrong, y'all. They will defend their kid tooth and nail. So the mom was like, I don't usually comment or say anything on this internet, even with all the negativity, the lies and hatreds towards mine. However, these accusations have made me realize that I have been quiet too long. And she spelled too long wrong. It's supposed to be too, she spelled too wrong. It's supposed to be T-O-O, okay? Because she's talking about a different tube. But anyway, that's beside the point. So she came out with that. DDG's brother came out. Everybody came out, y'all. Y'all probably seen those posts, but I'm trying to get to the hot tea right now. Okay, so today everybody was just chilling at their home, minding their own business and stuff. Why did DDG drop a bombshell? Now, let me tell you a little background story why I still kind of side-eye DDG though. Okay, DDG, if you guys have followed him in the past, he made a fake AI video of Halle online and was cussing out the AI video. And that was just weird to me. He was literally arguing with an AI video. And I thought that was weird. I don't know if you guys seen that video before of him cussing out Halle Bailey, but he was online one day and he made this robotic voice that sounded just like Halle, and he was asking her why she wouldn't let us see the kid, and the AI voice was responding as if it was Halle. And that kind of was disturbing to me because it made me think, well, this guy can create evidence. You know, he could create fake things and people would believe it, right? So that's why I kind of was a little bit hesitant to believe his claims. But let's get into his whole story, because I feel like DDG could have somewhat of a narcissistic perspectives. He wants to see the kid when he wants to see the child. He doesn't want to have any type of boundaries. He doesn't want to have any type of restraints on his visitation rights. He's just very controlling and selfish. That's the kind of vibe I get from him. But Halle on the other side seems to be very like a fatal attraction type person. Though based on what she has said in the past, that she says that she can really, you know, be loud and cuss people out and all this stuff over her man and all this stuff. So in another way, I was kind of believing him. So let's see if I can find this whole thing out. Hold on, let me get to the hot tea. Have you guys even heard this story or anything? Let me know if you've heard about this, because I don't know if you guys even follow her or him. Okay, let's see. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find a good article on this because I don't want to use anything that's not as detailed as we want. Now, okay, one thing I will tell you about DDG, I think DDG's timing of filing this was a little bit sadistic. Okay, hold on, let's see. I wonder if they have any text messages on here. Okay, here it is. Now, the thing is, this is really, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of in the middle. Wait, this is not the right one. Okay, hold on, guys. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so this article here kind of gives us some of the synopsis. I don't want to go through all of it because it's like a 100-page court document, but I do want to kind of give you guys a good picture of it. So today, June 4th, DDG goes to court. He files his own emergency order because, mind you, on allegedly today was supposed to be their ongoing hearing to review the evidence. The judge was supposed to review all the evidence on both sides today, and he was going to either determine whether he was going to grant a permanent restraining order or deny a permanent restraining order, not issue one. That was what was supposed to be today. Some sources say it's supposed to be June 6th, which means it would be later on, but I don't think that's true because that would be Friday. So, and based on the court documents that I looked at, it was June 4th, but I might be June 6th, which would be Friday. So they probably are going to have that hearing Friday. So I'm very interested in seeing what the judge will do. Because there's conflicting evidence, I think the judge is going to probably want to have evidence, testimony, watch the videos. He probably might even just be overwhelmed with all the conflicting evidence, and he might probably want to take this under submission. What that means is he's probably going to not make a ruling immediately, and he probably will just go forward in reviewing the evidence behind chambers and come back and set another day to issue his ruling. Or sometimes he won't even schedule another hearing. He'll just send the ruling to the attorneys. So anyways, let's hear what DDG had to say. So DDG, let's see what it says. He went and filed his own emergency order, y'all. He went to court today. He filed his emergency order claiming that Halle is the abuser, that Halle has a psychological mental disorder, and that she has been basically threatening to take her life any moment when he tries to leave her, or he distances himself, or if he's talking to another woman, she automatically says, I'm about to take my life. Okay. So he's saying that he doesn't feel like she's mentally there, like she's not mentally capable of caring for this child. So DDG's latest filing seeks to block ex-girlfriend from taking Halle to Italy for a film project and requests sole custody, citing instability. Okay. So in the text messages between DDG and Halle, DDG says he was genuinely scared for his life when he was around Halle. Now, this part, you guys, I don't know if I believe him or not. I'm like, DDG, you are a grown man. You are a very well-established, successful boxer. You guys look up some of his information. He is a very well-known, successful boxer. He's just, he's knocked out people. He's just really actually, I think his arm is registered. Yes, his arm is registered, so he can't even use his arm to fight. His fist to fight anybody because it's registered as being a deadly weapon, basically. So yeah, him talking about he's scared of her and all that. Boy, bye. I don't know. I was kind of side-eyeing him on this grown man who's out here online talking all that mess and saying he's scared of a little mermaid, but y'all be the judge. But we're gonna get into the text messages because this is a hot mess. So anyway, so you already know DJ Academics has been supporting DDG the whole time. So this is allegedly a text message exchange. Now, let me just be real with you guys. I kind of question the authenticity of this email exchange. And the reason why is because I looked through all of the text messages. Some of the text messages dates were all out of order. It was confusing. 1 minute they would have 2024, and then it would jump to 2025, and then it would jump back to 2024. Then you have this part where it says viewed. Let me know, guys, because maybe there's different type of phones. But for example, if you have an iPhone, there's never something that says viewed. It usually says read. So that's odd to me as well, because I don't usually see phones that have that word viewed. If you've read a message, it usually says read. So that to me was odd too. I just kind of question the authenticity. And because of DDG's prior behavior of creating a fake AI voice that sounds just like Halle and was having a back and forth dialogue with the fake voice online, this guy is the type of guy that's very psycho that would make up fake text messages like this. He is the type of dude that would do it because, like I said, he's done weird stuff like that in the past. So I'm kind of holding my judgment until I hear from the judge, because I feel like the judge is going to get down to the bottom of it. He might even question the authenticity of the text messages. And of course, Halle's attorney is going to question the authenticity of these text messages, because what I'm thinking is going to happen is Halle's attorney is going to come back and say, these text messages should be thrown out as evidentiary evidence because, number one, it's hearsay, it's inadmissible. Number two, there is no authenticity to show that these are in fact Halle's text messages. So I think that's going to be a big issue in the court. Now, a lot of times in the Family Law Matters, even though it's inadmissible hearsay, sometimes the judges, they're very informal in terms of these matters and they will let it in, especially when it's a family issue. But I think the authenticity is going to be a big subject matter that's going to be challenged amongst the parties. But let's read some of these text messages, y'all. So this one just has a part where Halle's saying, now let me just give you a background in these text messages because we're not going to read it all. So dating back to around 2021, they started dating, right? In 2022, though, DDG was allegedly, based on one of these text messages, he had been cheating. He had been having different women, seeing other girls, and Halle was not having it. She was very hurt about him seeing all these other women. And so when he wouldn't speak to her, she would send, allegedly, if these are her text messages, she would send large volumes of text messages, like telling him to answer his phone, telling him that she's going to take her life, that she has a knife, that she's going to just end it all. And she started this back in 2022 when she wasn't even pregnant at the time. Then in 2023, when she did become pregnant, allegedly they had broken up in 2023 because of the back and forth drama. And during that time when she was pregnant, she had come back to him and she was telling him, hey, I'm pregnant, but since we're not together, I'm probably going to abort the child, whatever. And he's like, no, since we have a kid, let's just work it out for the child, meaning we'll co-parent for the kid's sake. And she's like, well, if you don't stay in my life, then I'm going to abort the kid because there's no point in me having a kid out of, without a man there to support the child. And then at this time, DDG claims that she went to a abortion clinic and she had taken the first pill to start the abortion and she started to bleed profusely. So she had gone to the hospital and she didn't finish, I guess, the second dose that would cause the abortion. So he was mad at her about that. And so she apologized to him. She said, the child's okay, stay with me, blah, blah, blah. So during that year, they got back together. Well, in June of 2023, he went on a date with another woman. He claims it was a lady friend. It was just a friend. But y'all know DDG, if you know DDG, he's always online with different women all the time. Like he's always flirting online. He just got a different woman every single day. That man is posting with a different woman. So I don't believe that it was just a friend, but allegedly she's pregnant. She's in a relationship with DDG at the time. He goes to a movie with another woman. And according to DDG and his mama, because his mom went and she wrote a declaration to the court as well. And in the mom's declaration, she says that Halle had been putting all these air tags on DDG's car at the time, right? She had been putting air tags, and that's how in June 2024, while she was pregnant at the time, she had found out that DDG was at the movies with another woman. And he claims when she got to the movie theater, she started saying she was going to beat up the girl and she was cussing and all that. And DDG's mom says she came to the movie theater to kind of stop the argument. But that doesn't make sense to me, guys. You guys let me know if you believe that story. I don't know if I believe that story from the mom and DDG, because I'm like, if think about it, if we have a celebrity, Halle, who is Little Mermaid, at the theater causing a commotion like that, cursing, wanting to fight people, that would have been all over the news. How come we didn't see this on TMZ? How come we didn't see, somebody posting, hey, Little Mermaid out here trying to fight somebody? It just doesn't make sense that was so kept quiet. The only thing that I can somewhat speculate in that situation is that what I think happened was that Rock Nation basically went and paid the media and maybe got the camera to stop the story. Because, some celebrities do that. Some celebrities will pay outlets to not post a story. So that's the only other explanation I can think of. Because if you think, guys, of a celebrity out there trying to cause commotion and fight, why isn't that in the news? Why we don't see a video clip of that at the theater? Because theaters have cameras too. And you mean to tell me there's not one clip of this of her out here acting a fool? And then he's trying to gaslight and make it look like he's so innocent and that she's just this insecure woman. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm just in the middle. But anyways, let's read this part right here. So this is one of the text messages that they share here. She says, please take Halle, allegedly, she says this on March 21st, 2024. Now that March 1st, 2024 date doesn't make sense, guys. Well, yes, it does. Sorry, because she had the kid in 2023 of December. Sorry, it does make sense. Strike what I just said. And she's not even spelling stuff right. That's kind of weird too. But she is emotional at the time. So Daryl, which is DDG, he says, I'm genuinely scared of you, man. I feel like you're gonna KILL me in my sleep one day. Well, she must have some fatal attraction. He said he's scared she's gonna kill him in his sleep one day. And then he says, I'm not allowing you in my house around guns. Please just go home and I'll pick up Halle from there. Now, why he's saying he doesn't want her around guns is because there was an incident, allegedly, if these text messages are true, where she took his gun from her house one time, from his house, from his room, and she went outside claiming she was about to shoot herself with the gun. And he told her, that the gun doesn't have a safe on it. He showed pictures of the son and was like, look at your son, don't do this. So that's why he was like, he didn't want her around guns, because she had took that gun before, claiming to take her life, because she was trying to control him. Allegedly, that's what he claims, that she controls him through claiming that she's going to take her life, that she has no one else, which that part doesn't make sense. She says she has no one else to support her. But number one, at the time, she had the support of her parents. According to other sources, she had been living with her parents from one point, and then she moved in with DDG when she had the kid and so forth. So she did have the support of her parents. She had the support of her sisters, because we already know she's very close with Chloe, but she also has an older sister that she's very close with, who actually came out a few years back and defended Halle when DDG was lying on her end, talking about she was like every other woman or something like that. He basically was trying to claim that she cheated on him. So, and I'll tell you why he said that, because there's text messages that kind of clarify that whole situation that happened back in, I think, 2022. It happened when he came online on X, and he was like, all women are the same, blah, blah, blah. And then Halle's sister came out, the older sister was like, don't be talking about my sister like that. Basically, my sister, don't be trying to claim she's like these other women out here, blah, blah, blah. Well, that whole situation happened at a time when they had gotten into an argument, like they always do, because this whole relationship was very toxic. They'd break up, get back together, break up, get back together. And Halle, every time they break up, Halle would claim, allegedly, if these text messages are real, she would always threaten to take her life. The whole relationship, she's saying, I'm about to stab myself. I got a knife right now. Or she would take a gun. I'm going to shoot myself. Allegedly. These are all allegedly. I'm going to shoot myself if you don't come and talk to me. Or, I'm about to kill myself right now. Come get the son. This is the type where she's saying right now, please take Halle. This was an email exchange where she's saying she's about to take her life in another email exchange. So that throughout the whole relationship, the way she controlled DDG, allegedly, if these text messages are turn out to be real, she's always using threats to take her life to control him, to make him like stay with her, or come back or call her or come see her, based on these. If these text messages are real, again, this is all alleged from DDG's part. So that's why he was talking about, I'm not allowing you around guns in his house. That's why he said this text message right here. So Halle says, me and Halle are in the cold and you won't let us in your house. Are you serious? So that's one email exchange, y'all, but there's a lot more that we'll get into. Let's just finish this article up. Bailey claims DDG was abusive, but then DDG says that she wasn't. So let's go and see what Shade Room had to say, because Shade Room came out with some more text messages, y'all. So let's see what Shade Room had to say about this whole ordeal. Okay. Oh, they're going to make us log in to see the post? Come on now, DDG. Come on now. Oh, they're not going to let us see it. I don't know. You know what? Let me go. All right, sorry, guys. I'm going to get out of this. Let me go to another post, because it looks like they're not letting me go to it for some odd reason. So we'll go check it out with Tasha K, because Tasha K be own it. And she posted a lot of stuff too. So let's see what Tasha K got to say. Okay, yeah, so Tasha K got it. So let's go to Tasha K, y'all. But this whole thing, there's like 100 different pages, and I just don't want to go through everything. So I'm just trying to find a summary. Okay, so here's one. Let's see first if she has anything else. Okay, so this is the first one that she posted. And she said, Woo, this situation has just gotten even deeper. DDG is asking the court for full custody of his and Halle's son, alleging she's emotionally unstable, has used threats, including suicide, y'all, to control him. According to the documents, he claims Halle threatened to take her life, tracked him with air tags, drove while suicidal with his baby in the car, y'all, withheld their son to manipulate him and physically hit him. DDG also submitted injury photos, text messages, witness statements, and wants a ban on international travel. Halle allegedly planned to take the baby to Italy for 2 months, y'all. Court monitored communication and third-party custody exchanges. So here is one of the text messages right here. This whole exchange right here is Halle allegedly. If these text messages are true, okay? This entire chain, y'all, is Halle, and this make her look like a lunatic. She, within all these minutes, she's sending the same time frame, 11:09, 11:09, 11:09. She sends all these, which is kind of suspicious to me. I'm like, well, if she's sending back to back text messages, then it makes sense. But it makes her look crazy. So Halle says right here, March 21st, 2024, if these are true, she said, this is proof. You leave me hanging as a mother. You don't step up when I need you to. I'm begging you. I just found out. See, she has a lot of typos because she's emotional, allegedly. I just found out you slept with Lala in Mexico. And Lala is a online, she's an online IG influencer. I'll show you a photo of her once we get done with this, but she's an online IG influencer that she's pretty much a lot of times shown on DDG's pages or whatever, on his live, on his TikTok and stuff like that, and on his YouTube. So they've done a lot of content together. So she's claiming that he slept with this girl, Lala, which I'll show you a picture of a little later. She said, I just found out you slept with her in Mexico. I'm going to see right here. I'm going to KILL myself tonight. And if this is true, if this is really the stuff she sent, y'all, she needs some mental help now. I'm actually really scared for her mental state as we speak right now, because he's threatening to take her child from her. And that, if she is so fragile, like the way she has been in these text messages, it really scares me that she will go and take her life, like just wipe herself out over these claims, and how he's tarnished her name now. And, you know, she kind of drove him to it, basically, because she's trying to take the kid away. So he kind of had no choice, if these are true. But this is the type of situation that will drive a woman over the edge. So that's crazy, y'all. I'm like, whoo. She said, I will kill myself tonight. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever. You can have him and let her be his mom. So she's basically willing to give her child to DDG in this text message exchange, saying, let the Lala girl you slept with be Hello's mom. Now, if she really sent these messages, y'all, she is out of her mind. There's some mental health issues going on that are really disturbing to me, that shows me that she is mentally ill. There's some mental illness going on, that you would threaten your life every moment, anytime something goes wrong. Okay, that really is disturbing. So, and then DDG says, I can't believe you're acting like this. Sorry, it's very blurry, but that's what he said. He said, I can't believe you're acting like this. And it's just kind of a stark contrast to the text messages that she showed us of DDG. And the text messages that she showed us of DDG, he had a different tone in the other text messages. And the text messages that Halle showed in her restraining order, he sounded more controlling. He sounded more jealous, like, oh, I see what you're on, like showing the picture of her bed and stuff. But now it seems like he don't even care about her. So it's like, y'all, it just seems kind of weird, like the tone, like why in these text message exchange, he sounds like he doesn't really care about her. And he's like kind of like nonchalant about her. And she's like the crazy lunatic woman that's sending like tons of messages at a time. And he's just sending her one sentence responses. To me, that sounds like somebody lying. It sounds like somebody lying. I don't know whose text messages are real or what, But how is it that this man comes off as doesn't care, and all of a sudden now he tracking her movements, want to know who she with in St. Lucia? It's just like weird. Somebody lying. That's what I feel like, but I don't know who. You guys going to tell me who. So this is another clip. Halle says, I want to DIE, basically. She's saying she wants to die. She said, I never want to be here again. I hate all this. I hate this life. And this was back in February of 2023. Now, this would have been a month before she was pregnant. And she's already talking about dying and hating her life and hating to be here in life. And he says, please stop taking it to this extreme. So this is pretty sad. She's thinking about suicide for the last 3 years. Back in 2022, she posted messages threatening suicide. Back in 2023, and in 2024, she's always been using these, like, if these are her messages, she's been using threats to take her life. And that is just sad on one part, because it's like, dang, we really don't know what these celebrities go through. So that part is very sad. And then it's also quite disturbing too that she's also using this as a way to control and manipulate this man. So it's like there's two different sides. And then it's very shocking for all of us to see these messages, because when we see Halle, she looks like a little angel. She has that soft little angelic voice. She seems like she just would never hurt a fly. And she's this Disney princess, so people just would not imagine. You know what I mean? So Halle wrote this allegedly in March of 2024. She says, I hate you. You are the most horrible person I've ever met. But look at this part. It says viewed. Guys, do you guys have a phone, or have you heard of a phone that has viewed? I have never seen that. Usually when it's a legit message, it says read if it's like an iPhone. I don't know what kind of phone DDG has, but I have never seen any text messages that has that kind of exchange. It's just kind of weird. Okay. But anyways, let's keep going. She said, I wish I didn't have to fight with you, but you continue to let me down every time. And I don't know what this is right here. And something about exchanging my son in a money deal for views. And then she says, and openly flirt and help every other woman in the world but me. Now that's sad right there, guys. I get why she's hurt. I'm not like any woman. Let's put ourselves in her shoes. Throughout this whole entire relationship, based on the text messages I read, this man has been cheating on her the entire time. He's taken other women to the movie theaters. He's flirting with other women. He's allegedly slept with a woman in Mexico. This man has just been going all out, doing his own thing. Like, he's never really cared about this girl. When she's crying out to him, sending him messages, he just ignores her for like long periods of time. And he doesn't really listen to her until she threatens to take her life. If she threatens to take her life, which is crazy to me, I'm just saying, then all of a sudden, he wants to talk to her to save her life. So, but that's kind of disturbing, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, that she's using suicide as a way to control this man. And if these text messages prove to be true, y'all, she needs mental health therapy, because anybody who would go to that extreme is not mentally there. This is the type of person who is impulsive. I'm really worried about her right now, because all this stuff has come out and it's pretty much tarnished her reputation. She could probably lose endorsements, probably going to lose sponsors. Who knows if they're even going to keep her on this Italiana movie. She might lose her contract with the Italiana movie. She may not even star in it now. There's a lot of things she might lose because of this, because he's got photos. Like, he probably might even have destroyed this girl's entire career. He probably did. I don't know if she's going to play in this movie, because this was looking bad. He's making her out to be some violent domestic abuser. She's repeatedly hit him allegedly, stalked him allegedly, threatened to take her life. Like, he's claiming a lot of things, y'all, that could end up costing her her career. So that alone is very sad if this is true. So yeah, let's keep going. Hurry up, guys. I'm trying to see if there's a video on this that is really good. That's like, he goes over the entire thing. So we'll take a look at that as well. But let's keep going. Okay. So then she says, you hate me and you want me to die. That to me, this was March 21st of 2024. And notice this is disturbing, y'all. She sends these all in a whole like set of 1 minute. This is all 12:14 p.m. That is somebody who is very enraged, not thinking well, having a psychosis attack, has lost their complete mind. Now, women out there, if this is true, please don't ever, men and women out there, I'm going to give y'all a message. Don't ever get to this point over a person where you're threatening to take your life. Nobody is worth your life. Because if you go and take your life over another person, and we've covered stories like this, that person is going to move on with their life without you anyway. They're not going to care about that you took your life. They may be sad for a little moment, but they're going to move on and they're going to marry someone else. The way to get revenge on someone who's broke your heart is to move on like they don't matter to you, to rise up above the trauma and move on. That is the way that you get your victory. When you start taking your life and doing things like that, you have given that person victory over yourself. You have given that person power over you. You have lowered yourself. If you're very hurt about something like this, then get therapy, move on, and cut off all contact with that person. That is the best way for you to win, is to show that person that you are stronger without that person in your life. But if these text messages are true, this is disturbing. This is a woman who gave all of her power and control to this man and felt that she didn't even exist without him. And she was to the point where she was desperate, that she used her life as a way to control this man. And that is, to me, very disturbing. So here she says, I want to die because of you. I will die because of you. And guys, you have to know too, these words are very powerful. Be careful of the words that you say, because when you say and write words like this and you repeatedly say this, and this woman has done this for 3 years straight, allegedly, okay? When you write stuff like this, you are manifesting that into your life. And eventually this type of stuff comes to fruition. You are manifesting that. And that's what makes me very scared for this young lady's safety, because I'm like, if she's continually repeating these type of words, she is going to inevitably, she's going to manifest it. Okay. So here is another follow-up. She said, a new court declaration from DDG's mom now, Tanya Berry, claims Halle Bailey allegedly placed multiple Apple AirTags in DDG's vehicles, including one hidden inside a vitamin bottle and another hidden inside a pet-themed diaper bag after their son was born. So she had been putting these Apple AirTags in DDG's car since at least June of 2023, before she had the child. So before she even had Halle, she was already putting these AirTags in the car. That's how she found out that he was at the movie theater with another woman. But then after she had the child, she started hiding it in the diaper bag as well, keeping track of, their whereabouts, which is crazy, y'all. It's crazy. Okay. Granberry says she found the first tracker after Halle allegedly popped up at a movie theater and tried to fight a woman DDG was with. Again, that's kind of questionable because like I said, we haven't seen any news reports about him out here fighting or her out here trying to fight a woman. So that's kind of questionable. She's a very well-known celebrity. And you mean to tell me nobody saw this fight? I don't know. That sounds weird. Now, the mom claims at least 4 AirTags were discovered between June 2023 and April 2024, and that Halle even left a box of them behind after moving out. Now, what's weird is they only show a photo of one AirTag. I'm like, if you say you found a box and you found 4 of these different AirTags, did she say 4? I think she said 4. How come you don't have photos of all the AirTags? That's just weird. Okay. And then she says she's ready to testify in court, y'all. So she has her her declaration as well. And I feel like, and I think mothers will defend their kids. So in a way, she doesn't have much credibility. I don't know if I really believe the mom, because the mom is going to defend her kid regardless. So unless there's some actual proof of this, I'm still side-eyeing the mom because the mom is a biased witness. And Halle's attorney is going to go in on her during cross-examination to show how biased she is and how she lacks credibility. So this is going to be a very contentious trial or hearing. Sorry, I said trial, court hearing. So let's look at this here. TMZ did an article on this, and TMZ does a little bit more detailed article. So Halle has filed to deny. Oh, guys, this is an update, okay? As of now, Halle's attorney filed to deny DDG's request and instead grant her permission to take her son out of the country so she can work. Halle is also requesting orders to stop DDG and his family and friends stop posting about their son, this litigation, and Halle on all platforms. So in Halle's original, she's filed this recently, guys. She just responded to his order. So this is coming hot and heavy, y'all. Okay, she just filed a response to DDG. But anyways, in her original order, I forgot to say this. She filed a restraining order to prevent him from speaking about Halle or Hallo. So you notice lately he's been pretty quiet about that because the court ordered him to not speak about it. So now she renewed that request, but she has added a prohibition for even his family to speak about her because the family was over here talking mess that whole few weeks because they weren't restrained, only DDG was. Okay, so she just now filed an order at 2:45, y'all. This is getting hot and heavy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Halle also points out that DDG waited until today. Look at this, guys. This is what I just said this, guys. I said he waited 3 days before she's about to leave. That is a sign of control and manipulation. Only narcissists do stuff like that. He's trying to put her in a frenzy because he's trying to stop her from working. He knew this was going to cause her to get stressed out, go crazy, and he waited. He had 4 weeks, 20 days to file this order. Why did you wait till the eve of her have to move to go to Italy to do this film to all of a sudden say, oh, you can't take the kid? This guy is just as bad. That's why I said I don't really know if I believe everything. I feel like there's more to this story. But let me let you know, in DDG's restraining order, y'all, he says he has a recording of Halle. And in that recording, she is cussing him out, y'all. He put the transcript in his restraining order. She was calling him all kind of B's, telling him that he is like, he needs to get up out of her car. She was just going off. At first, she's claiming he's calling her B's, but he has a transcript recording where he recorded her, y'all, calling him all kind of B's, going off on him. So this is a mess, y'all. They both a mess if these allegations are true, right? So look what she said here in her new order today. She said, Halle points out that DDG waited until June 4th to file a request to block her from traveling and ask for new custody orders, when he and his attorney have ignored all of her efforts for him to have monitored visits with their son since the issuance of the TRO on May 13th, 2025. So notice that DDG had 21 days, y'all, to see this kid, and he ignored her attorney's request to allow him opportunities to see this child. And mind you, Halle in her original filings, Halle shows text messages of her reaching out to DDG's mother, trying to facilitate exchanges with her and for her son to see Halle. And DDG would deny the request. He was like, "Oh, I don't need to see my kid. I'll wait till Halle comes back so I can see the kid." So based on her text message that she provided to the court, it seems like he really wasn't too motivated to see this child. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to see the child. It seems like he's using this child to manipulate and control her. And then he's claiming she's using the child to manipulate and control him. It's a hot mess. But anyways, let's keep going, y'all. This is getting messy. Okay. So DDG has filed an emergency motion to stop Halle from taking their infant son out of the country, claiming she poses an imminent emotional and psychological risk to the child. The rapper filed the documents Wednesday morning asking for an emergency hearing because he says Halle has made plans to fly with their son to Italy on Saturday. Guys, this is so messy. That's why I said DDG is very sinister. Now, I'm not saying Halle's innocent. batshit crazy, y'all. If these text messages are right, I'm just saying she's crazy. Okay, if they're true. But he's just as evil. Why does he wait 3 days before she has to go to work when, mind you, Halle has said in her filings that DDG does not financially provide for their child. She has been taking care of this kid financially the whole time. He's only at one time he's given money to her. And this child is 1.5 years old, and he has only financially provided one time in 1.5 years. He sounds like an irresponsible father. She's trying to financially provide. And when she's trying to go get the money to support this child, now you're going to wait 3 days to stop her and cause her to be in an emotional wreck. He sounds like a manipulator to me. Let me know what you guys think. This is just straight up evil. Dude, you had all this time. He's a sinister person. Like, oh, both of them are. They all messed up. Anyways, DDG says the court shouldn't allow this because Halle isn't mentally healthy enough to care for herself and their child. And he worries about what she might do if she leaves the court's jurisdiction. Now, DDG, if you were so worried and this is such an emergency, why did you wait 21 days to file this? I hope the judge is smart enough to see this for what it really is. I hope they have a competent judge, because if this judge is competent, he would weigh all of that situation and say, why would you, if you said this is all an issue, why do you wait 21 days? As soon as she served you with this, you should have been in the court that next available business day, and you should have filed your emergency order immediately to overturn my original judgment. But he waited this time, so it just doesn't seem the urgency is really there. So I wonder how smart this. Let's see how smart the judge is on this. But anyways, DDG provides examples of alleged conduct he thinks is troubling, claiming Halle once took his gun and left the house without telling him where she was going, y'all. DDG alleges he ultimately found her outside just holding the gun, y'all. He says she was pregnant when the incident went down. Guys, if this is true, this is crazy. So while she was pregnant, he claimed, y'all, she went out with his gun threatening to take her life, to get him, to control him, to get him to respond to her. Because basically, DDG would not really, he would send her calls to voicemail all the time. He would ignore her messages, which is why you've seen in the email exchange or the text message exchanges I showed you, she would send like 9 or 10 messages before he responded to her in one little sentence. So it seems like he really wasn't even interested in her. It seems like this was just one of those public social media relationships, and he just wasn't really into her like that. She was the one out here sending 9 and 10 messages at a time. He's sending her to voicemail, not even answering her calls. He's out with other women. He's not even trying to be with her. And so the only way she would control him is through threatening to kill herself. So he said one time she took his gun while she was pregnant, y'all, and was out here threatening to kill herself. That's just some crazy shit right there. Sorry, I had to cuss, God. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. Okay. He alleges Halle once tried to have an abortion behind his back, but says she ultimately changed her mind and decided not to go through with it. And that was based upon the story I told you, where she went to that abortion clinic. She was supposed to take these 2 pills. She's supposed to take one, and then she's supposed to take the second one, and that would finalize the abortion. But she only took one of those abortion pills, and then she started to bleed profusely, and then she went to the hospital because she changed her mind. And she told DDG about it, and he went to the doctor, and the OBGYN doctor told him that she had attempted to do the abortion, and he was mad at her, so he ended the relationship. And then she came to him proving that she was going to do better and that she was going to keep the child. The child's okay. And so he resumed the relationship, allegedly. Okay. Now, on another occasion, 2 months after Halle was born, DDG claims Halle sent a series of alarming text messages threatening to kill herself, suggesting that their infant son, Halle, might also be harmed, y'all. This is crazy. As you know, Bailey has accused DDG of abusive behavior in the past, including ones, right? We already saw this part, y'all. This is all redundant. Okay, DDG tells a different version. So she claims he abused her, but he's telling a different version of events. He's claiming he came to pick up Halle for his custodial time. So you guys remember this story right here where he said she accused DDG of abusive behavior in the past, including once when he alleged he slammed her face into a steering wheel and chipped her tooth. So this is the one she claimed, right? This was her side of the story. Now his side of the story is completely different, y'all. In his filings, he claims he came to pick up Halle for custodial time with his son. But Halle jumped into his back seat when he did, demanding they come up with a formal co-parenting schedule. So in her filing, she made it sound like she was so nice and gentle, and she was like, "Honey, can not honey because they weren't together at the time." She was like, "Well, can we schedule some type of visitation?" And she made it sound like he was like, "Bitch, get out of my car." That's how he made it. She made it look like she was just this little sweet angel, kindly asking for this, and he just turned aggressive on her. That was her version. His version is no, she came at him aggressive, was like, "We need to come up with a visitation order." Da, 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 da. She was like being aggressive to him, basically. And he was like, I'm not trying to hear this. So the DDG alleges that she became increasingly agitated, started jumping from the back seat to hit him. And he has claimed throughout this entire relationship, she has been hitting him, punching him in front of friends and family members. The mom and everybody would see her over here hitting him and punching him for things, taking his laptop, trying to break his laptop because he wouldn't let her see his phone. She would take his phone, steal it to try to see what kind of woman he talking to. And one time she tried to take his phone and he took it back from her. So she hit him, grabbed his laptop, and basically said she was going to break it. And I think she actually did break his laptop because she text messaged him later talking about, "I broke your laptop." So the girl was doing some crazy stuff, y'all. She was vandalizing his stuff. They both crazy, okay? So anyways, DDG alleges she became increasingly agitated, started jumping from the back seat to hit him, and her momentum carried her over, and she smacked her head on the steering wheel. So that's his story. His story is the girl was trying to be violent with me. She fell, hit her own teeth on the steering wheel. I didn't do that to her tooth. Now, y'all, I have prosecuted domestic violence cases, so I am used to these type of stories. When a woman gets beat, what does a woman normally do? When her friends ask her, "How did you get that black eye?" "Oh, I fell." That's the normal story. So that story when DDG's talking about, oh, she actually fell and hit her own tooth, I was kind of side-eyeing that. I don't know which side to believe on that. Y'all gonna have to be the judge. You guys are my opinionators, so I'm gonna need y'all to go ahead and tell me what you think, whose story you believe. He also shows this photo here, y'all. He claims this is the alleged injury that Halle gave him when she reached over the back seat and attacked him. Yeah, angel eyes. I don't think the text messages are real. Girl, you must have just joined the chat. I told you I don't think they're real. And I explained why. I looked through the 100-page court documents. And number one, the messages seem very sketchy. The messages they're not in order. They're like all over the place. First, they start with 2024, then they jump to 2025, then it goes back to 2024. It looks all chopped up. And then instead of like the read receipts, it says viewed, which is not normally what you see in phones. So I already kind of said that, Angel, that I don't really, and I told you before that DDG did go on live before, and he created a fake AI voice of Halle, and it sounded exactly like Halle. Okay. And he was over there having an ongoing argument. And if you weren't smart enough to tell that it was AI, you would have believed that was her. Because her voice sounded like it was Halle. And he was cussing the girl out, the fake AI voice of Halle, saying, "How come you won't let me see my effing kid?" And the AI voice was like, "Why are you cussing at me like this? Why would you think I would keep your son away?" And if you are not smart enough, you would have thought that was really Halle. So you got to look at this whole picture. And he is accused of being violent towards Ruby Rose. And he then later on came out and lied and claimed that she was lying and it was fake. And somebody got a hold and hacked her account, which that was false. Ruby Rose really was coming out saying he abused her. So guys, I don't believe the text messages. And what I said is, I think in the court, her attorney is going to challenge the authenticity of those text messages. In fact, they might even subpoena each of their phone records and require them to turn over all phone records so that the court can decipher which text messages are accurate, because I don't trust the text messages, y'all. I don't check. Now, y'all, I know Die Hard gonna come in and say if it was on the other side. Now, that's not true, Die Hard. I'm looking at this on an objective perspective. I don't know if you know my background, but I am an attorney. So I have prosecuted domestic violence. I've also been a family law attorney in the past. So I've litigated these cases in and out of court, left and right. I've been an attorney for 11 years now. So I have experience with this. I'm not looking at this from a man or woman perspective. I'm analyzing the evidence objectively. And so there were if you look and compare the different text messages, Halle's looks more authentic. If you look at the chain of what she posted versus what he has posted and provided, it looks all chopped up and all over the place, and it doesn't look authentic. That is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it objectively. When I analyze these cases, I don't look at who's the man, who's the woman, who I like more, who I don't like more. And in fact, if you were here, I did go over both sides, and I said if these text messages are real, Halle needs therapy. Okay, she needs some serious therapy because I'm worried about her mental health, and this can drive her over the edge and take her life out just by these messages. So I'm looking at it evidentiary wise. This photo right here too. He claims this is the injury he got. If he's saying that she swung over with this momentum, right, and she chipped her tooth, basically inferring that she missed him, right? She tried to hit him allegedly and she missed him. How can a punch or a missing of a hip lead to this scratch, lead to this big injury here? I mean, see this mark right here. I question the story. The story doesn't make sense. He claims that she lunged over. This is his story. Let's look at his story. He says he claimed that she jumped in his back seat, demanding to see him, right? Then she became increasingly agitated, started jumping from the back seat to hit him. Her momentum carried her forward and she smacked her head on the steering wheel. Both of their stories claim that after she hit her tooth, she stopped fighting because she was already in pain or whatever. So it doesn't make sense that all of a sudden, where did he get this abrasion here? The story doesn't make sense. Both of their stories, both of them lying. They're not telling us the full story. She's not telling the full story. He's not telling the full story. How did he get this scratch if she allegedly missed him and she was trying to punch him? I don't even know if it's a scratch. Is that a knife or something? How did he get that deep cut? That's a pretty deep cut. When somebody scratches, you'll see more of like artificial kind of abrasions on the skin, but that's a deep cut, like somebody had a knife, like he was cut with a knife. I'm trying to wonder, did he cut himself and make this photo up? I don't know. I told you DDG got some weird stuff about him, so I don't know. Y'all be the judge. You think this is a real injury? Because his story doesn't make sense. His story says she tried to lunge at him, but she missed and hit her tooth. He didn't tell us the full story. So this scratch doesn't line up with this whole alleged missed opportunity. So I don't know. Y'all let me know if you believe it. I don't know. In fact, DDG says he was actually on the receiving end of abuse by Halle, including photos of a large cut on his hand in the docks, which he says Halle caused. Now, if he's saying this scratch was from a different incident, that's a whole different story. But if it's during this January 2025 incident, I have questions because both parties don't seem to give us the full story. I don't know if honestly, because both of their stories don't make sense, the court might just rule out both of those stories as not credible and just throw that part of the evidence out. If he's not able to decipher from both of their testimonies, because it's going to be his word against her word. Now, the evidence in family court or restraining order court and civil court is lower than criminal court, so it's preponderance of the evidence. So, I mean, the court doesn't need too much to believe this. But if there's not any more evidence that tips over in favor of either of the parties, they might just throw this entire the January 2025 story out, because if the court can't decipher who's telling the truth and there's no other witness that can kind of corroborate either side, he probably just going to throw that particular January 25th part out of it and then continue to review the other evidence, looking at the text messages, the authenticity of that, photos. There's also video footage from her. There's recordings that DDG has of Halle allegedly cussing him out. So again, we're going to have to look at the authenticity, because again, DDG has made up AI voices of her. So then they're going to have to authenticate the voice on the recording to see, is that her voice? So what might end up happening is, if Halle testifies, the DDG's attorney on cross-examination is going to ask her if this is her voice on the recording. Does she recall, speaking with him? on this date? Is it the same, voice that was on this date? Basically authenticating that that was in fact her voice, because again, DDG is known to make up AI voices. So I don't know if there's real. Now we're going to have to, hopefully they release this evidence on June 6th when they have the hearing. We should hopefully get a copy of the videos and we can listen to it ourselves to kind of decipher which one's, true or not. But DDG says he was actually on the receiving end of the abuse. He includes photos of his cut hand, and he says Bailey caused that abuse. DDG asked the judge to block Halle from taking Halle to Italy. He also wants sole legal and physical custody of their son. And if that's not granted, he wants all custodial exchanges facilitated by a third party, and he wants joint custody. Now, what I will say is, based on both of their custody requests, I would say DDG has the more rational and reasonable request. I didn't agree with Halle's original request that she wanted sole custody with giving him 6 hours. Like I said initially, I think that was a little extreme on her end. I feel like she's kind of hogging the son from DDG with no real valid reason to do so. But I feel like DDG is more reasonable because he's saying, hey, I want sole custody, but if not, we'll have joint custody. And I think he's also rational in saying there needs to be a third party. They should not be around each other. This is a couple that's so toxic, they should just never talk again to each other. It's just too crazy. They can't be in the same room. So I like his request. I feel like his is more rational and more fair, and he seems to come off as the more rational party. I think the judge is going to look at Halle's request for sole custody and think that that's a little bit extreme on her end. He's going to understand that she is alleging violence, yes, but he's also alleging violence. So the court might look at it as this. He might say, look, both of y'all have issues. He gonna say, y'all need to get therapy. I'm going to order both of you guys to take an anger management class, take a mental health therapy class, especially for Halle, take parenting courses, and you guys should have joint custody. And then he's going to order them to go to family court to facilitate those visitation schedules, meaning they're going to have to engage in mediation, and they're going to go through, the different factual patterns of how they can do the exchanges and so forth. And then once they have this mediation with the mediator is going to go to the family law court, and then they're going to tell the court what they think that visitation schedule should look like. And then the family law court is going to issue the order, and then it's going to be done that way. And I think they're going to definitely require a third party person to do the exchanges, because these two people just are not really right for each other. And I think the court's going to grant both of their orders, in that the court's going to say, you guys are both going to have restraining orders against each other. You guys shall not strike, hit, or verbally abuse one another, and probably shouldn't discuss each other online. I think that's what the court's going to end up deciding on this, because they're both just crazy people. Okay, both of them. Right, Royal? Like Royal said, knowing him, he probably did cut himself. I'm just saying, I don't know about DDG. DDG is kind of crazy to me. There's just some things, y'all. Okay, but Halle, I told y'all, she came out with her order real fast. She like, you gonna wait till the eve of me leaving for you to now come out with this? Boy, bye. Okay, now with all this evidence that I've given you, what does everybody believe? I need to hear you guys' side. Do you guys believe Halle, or do you guys believe DDG? Who do you believe? So Royal said that she thinks he cut himself. That's what I said, girl. I said, I think that, and I'm not gonna lie, I've looked at DDG. The DDG is crazy. He's lied a lot. He doesn't have much credibility. He's lied on the store clerk. He's lied on the nail technician. He just lies. Recently, he had his brother check somebody at an event this weekend because the guy called him doo-doo garbage. So the guy called him doo-doo garbage. So DDG, knowing he can't fight because he has child custody matters coming up, he tells his brother to go fight him, basically, by using the code word, check him on camera, right? After this fight happens, then DDG gonna go tell Kai Sinai, oh, it was a skit. Boy, bye, you turned around and lied. The victim came back and said, no, that was not a skit. He actually did attack me. So DDG lies a lot. So that's why I'm like, I don't even trust anything he says. And also he created that fake AI voice of Halle. So I'm like, I don't know if I believe him, y'all. Y'all let me know. I don't know. And I haven't really seen Halle's evidence was given partial truths as well, though. Because when I first heard her story, like I said, she kept saying she filed these police reports, yet there was no criminal charges. That was my red light right there. Because as a criminal prosecutor, it doesn't make sense for her to show evidence of a chipped tooth, bruises on her arms, and the prosecutor not file charges. That tells me there was some type of mutual combat. There's two sides to this story. So I already was questioning her story too. And Halle has come out and admitted that she could be toxic. So I feel like here's my opinion. I feel both of them are toxic as hell. Both of them are batshit crazy. I don't know which evidence is true, but DDG's evidence looked like it's a little fabricated and it could be made up. But at the same time, though, Halle, I believe Halle did a lot of that stuff. She is the type of woman will pretend to be innocent in person, y'all, and be crazy and possessive behind doors. Now, mind you, she does speak very loudly and clearly in her songs. And there's a song that she did that really kind of raised red flags to me recently. What is that song that she did? Let me try to find the name of the song, guys. But if you watch this, if you look at the music video, she's a little bit like jealous over this man in the video. It's called Because I Love You. She sings this all because I love you, babe. Go watch that music video. There's little hidden gems in there. And she says it's a true story that she's done that with a person she loved. And in the music video, you can see that she's with the man that she loves, and she's on stage, she's dancing, and it's supposed to be another person. And she can see this man that she's with is lusting after this other woman. And she's getting very emotional because the man she's with constantly looking at this other woman that looks just like her, basically. And she's getting very jealous. But that's a true story, allegedly, that throughout this whole 2.5-year relationship, DDG has been cheating on her. He has been sleeping with other women. He allegedly slept with this woman named Lala. Let me show you a picture of the woman Lala he allegedly slept with. And if you go look through his YouTube videos, he has done a lot of content with this girl. But here's Lala. Here's Lala. She says that they went to Mexico together and they slept together. Now, I don't know how Halle got this information because DDG in his filings, his court filings, claims that Halle has made up stories in her mind, that she's very insecure, that she always thinks every friend that he has as a woman or he does content with as a woman, that he's sleeping with each woman, and he says he's really not. And then he says that there's this double standard with her that, you know, when she is starring in a Little Mermaid movie and she's kissing another man, it's okay. But if he does content on his YouTube channel with other women, all of a sudden she's mad about it. But I would argue a movie is different than YouTube content, because in a movie, it's very professional. It's scripted. It's not real. But these YouTube sometimes could be more dangerous because some of that stuff, they're meeting each other voluntarily. They're making up the content, but you don't know what they're doing when that camera turns off. I'm just saying, it's a little different than a movie or a professional signed contract. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think about that situation. But anyways, he's always with other women. He went to a movie theater with another woman while she was pregnant. Okay. She's pregnant with his kid. She's crying at home, she says. And he's out with another woman. And of course, she put an air tag because she wanted to find out truth about him. Apparently, she's checking his phone and stuff because he's been cheating on her and she's trying to find out evidence. And if a man is constantly lying and cheating, then a woman is going to try to find out the truth. I mean, any woman gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep it real. If your man is out here cheating, but let me just tell you how I would handle it. I'm a woman with standards, okay? If I found out my man was cheating on me, if he's not giving me enough time and attention, and I've talked to him about this repeatedly and there's no change, I'm going to walk away. I'm not about to stay with a man for 3 or 4 years like she did, get pregnant, have a kid with this man after he has shown me from day one he don't want me. I'm out of there. So maybe because Halle is, I don't know why she went crazy over this man. I can't tell you guys, but it's disturbing if this story is true. If she's out here threatening suicide every left chance, this girl needs therapy, honestly, because I'm really worried. One time she was DDG alleges that she was in a car with Halle, claiming to take her life, claiming to basically she was driving around crazy, saying she was about to end it all. If that's true, y'all, that's really disturbing to me. And she needs therapy. She needs therapy. She needs to put in some type of like facility. And to be honest, if this is true, if they actually find these text messages to be true, which is, like I said, I don't really believe the authenticity of these text messages. They look very sketchy. They're disjointed. They don't look like a normal email exchange with the whole viewed versus read receipts. It's just weird. Like, I was questioning, is these even weird? And his prior history. He's a lunatic. I'm not gonna lie, DDG is a little loony. I told you I met this man and Halle in person at a Tina Knowles art exhibit, her annual art exhibit event that she has when I was Miss Black USA. So I met a lot of these celebrities, and I could tell you, Halle is not really friendly, but DDG is a whole different ballgame. He's very evil in person, very standoffish. He has a very sinister aura about him and a mean streak. And that was the vibe I got from him when I met him. He was just not friendly, and more so, he was looking down upon me because I guess I'm not like a celebrity in his eyes. You know what I mean? I'm not on his level, I guess. So he looked down upon me and other people because he thought he was better than everybody at the event. So I was like, boy, bye. After that, I didn't even like him. And I didn't even care for Halle because Halle was not friendly either. She had her little attitude. All the other people, like I said, were very friendly. I met Tyler Perry, Kelly Rowland, a lot of other really prestigious celebrities were there. Beyonce was there and Jay-Z, but they went around the back, so I didn't get to meet them. Unfortunately, I was very sad I didn't get to meet them. But I met a lot of the favorites. What is that girl's name I met? What's her name? The one that played Tina Turner. What's her name, y'all? I should know her name too. Tell me the one that played Tina Turner. What's her name? Oh, Tina Knowles is really pretty in real life too. Not Tina Knowles, sorry. Kelly Rowland is gorgeous in real life. Oh my gosh, she looks like a porcelain doll. I was like, whoa. Oh yeah, I met Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is stunning, and she's really funny in real life. But DDG and Halle, they were the only celebrities I remember that were not friendly, and I never forgot that. I never forgot that experience that I had with them. But anyways, like I said, DDG, I question DDG because of the fake stuff he's done online, the lies he always has made up online about different people. I'm shocked that he hasn't been sued for defamation yet, because he should. Okay, let me show you guys. Let me show you that video I'm telling you about. There's a video of him he made a fake AI video of Halle. Let me show you.
So if I give you a cherry or if Usher give you a cherry, which one you gonna eat?
I would never expect either of you to feed me, LOL. I have functioning hands. But you already know Usher is the one for me.
What the fuck you just say to me, Halle?
Lol, what? That I would never expect either of you to feed me? And Usher is my celebrity crush?
Now, if I put you on child support, I'll be wrong, right?
What? Why would you put me on child support?
Because you know we got a fucking kid. That's why you sitting online and you playing with me and you telling me that Usher is the one for you.
Lol, I don't know why you're getting so defensive. Usher's my celebrity crush, but you're my fiance, remember? Celebrity crush, but you're my fiance, remember? Celebrity crush, but you're my fiance, remember? Celebrity crush, but you're my fiance, remember?
Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. Isn't this crazy, y'all? That is crazy. He turned around. That's crazy to me. He's over here. Why did they go off like that? That's weird. I can see my image now. Did you guys see that? Isn't that weird as heck? He turned around and did an AI video.
So if I give you a
that's psycho. Why is it online? He's cussing her out on this fake AI video recording. If he can fabricate and make up stuff like this and people actually believe it's real, then how much more could he fabricate text messages and other things? And then another thing, a mama's always going to support their child. So I don't feel like she's credible. She says there's all these air tags, but they only show one photo of one. I'm just like, I don't know who to believe. I know and Halle's not giving a full story, so she lying too, because her story sounds Like she's only given a angelic side of her, but she obviously was in that car acting more crazy than she claims she was acting. So honestly, here's my conclusion. Both of them are lying. Both of them are giving partial truths. The court's going to probably be frustrated with the fact that both of them are lying. He's going to have a hard time listening to the biased witnesses involved. So he's probably going to end up saying both of them are going to get the restraining order. Both should get joint custody and then send it over to family court. He probably going to do that. And he's going to order them to take some type of classes, parenting classes, mental health therapy, stuff like that, because they both need therapy. And he's probably going to, like I said, he's going to require that third party exchange because they're both crazy and they shouldn't be around one another. He's probably going to say, both of you guys need a long-term restraining order. You guys should not communicate whatsoever to each other except through a third party professional person. It's not going to be the mom. It's going to be like a professional agency that handles stuff like this, that are going to be the facilitators that will handle the exchanges and the communications, because they're both just batshit crazy. Okay. They both are. So, and I don't know if like I said, DDG has his own thing too. So I don't know if I believe him. I don't know if I believe her. She's also has her crazy ways. And honestly, I'm really praying for Halle, because if she really is suicidal, she needs therapy. I'm worried for her right now. If she really is the type of person that he's saying she is, then even right now, this situation as it is can drive her over the edge and she end up taking her life. That's why I'm just praying. But if this is true, okay, if she's really crazy as DDG is saying, she really wasn't going to commit suicide. Let's be honest. She was using that as a tool to manipulate him. Some people who are crazy and manipulators and controlling, they will use suicide as a way to control the person. So if DDG is telling the truth, like I said, I don't know. My opinion is I'm questioning the evidence. It seems a little bit fabricated to me because of even the different tones in the text messages from both parties seem quite distinguishable. Halle's text messages, it seems like DDG's this controlling guy who's obsessed with Halle and wants to control her life and who she's with. But the text messages that DDG shows, it sounds like she was the one that was like obsessed with him, crazy over him, wanted to control him through threatening to take her life with different knives and guns and all kinds of stuff. And she's claiming that nobody wants her, nobody cares about her. He's the only person that cares for her, the only person that she relies upon, which is a lie because she has Chloe. We already know how close she is with Chloe, and she has her older sister who she's close with. And she allegedly had been living with her parents before this whole incident. So she has her parents and she has her godmom. So she has all these different people that support her, but yet she's telling DDG in the text messages he's the only person that she relies upon in life. And, he's not listening to her. So, y'all, the situation is a hot mess. If these text messages are true, because like I said, I don't know. And after reading the whole messages that I read, it just made me wonder honestly, if the messages that DDG, okay, let me show you some of those messages. Actually, I did show you some of them, but I want to show you a little bit more because I want you guys to see what I was thinking. Because when I was looking at the text messages, I was to the point where I was like, dang, dang, Halle, shut up, girl. That's what I was like, girl, just shut up. Because she was just going crazy in those text messages if that was really her. Okay, so let's look at this gentleman here. He did a video on this and he read the whole thing out. So let's just kind of look at what he said.
Confrontations. These incidents, everything just up to her discretion. She has full control for 2 months. He can't see the child. And as long as with that, she also doesn't want him to have full custody or have any custody. I think she said he can only visit the child for 6 hours a week with someone coming to supervise the visits. That's what she filed for. That's crazy as hell. But this is a response to that. All right. So this is just more of the legal jargon trying to say, like, listen, she's suicidal. She has said this over and over again, and she's done some things with the child in her possession that shows we can't trust what she may do. So that's pretty much what's being explained over here in this entire session. if you guys, let's go ahead and continue down here where they're going through the actual story. All right. Okay, here we go. What y'all saying in the chat, man? How y'all doing? And y'all going by repeated arguments, threats, and physical altercations. Petitioner has since weaponized our child to exert.
So he probably gonna say I'm copyrighting him. So let me go ahead and read it myself. So here's the summary of abuse perpetrated upon DDG allegedly. Okay, DDG says that Halle routinely used emotional coercion, including but not limited to threats of self-harm when he attempted to leave the relationship and or establish boundaries. Petitioner, which is Halle, weaponized the pregnancy demanding reconciliation or placing DDG in the impossible situation of being threatened that she would abort their baby should he not reconcile to her demands or accede to her demands. Petitioner on multiple occasions invaded my privacy. This is what DDG is saying. Invaded my privacy by going through my phone while I was asleep. Petitioner engaged in physical abuse perpetrated upon me by slapping and punching me during an August 2024 altercation over my phone. So she basically used violence, allegedly, which is what DDG is claiming, to get his phone. Now, if you guys remember correctly, when she first came out with her restraining order, there were people, his friends online was saying that she was the one that was actually hitting him and stuff. So he's coming out with this, trying to basically corroborating what his friends are claiming, basically. Petitioner engaged in physical abuse. Petitioner, which is Halle, repeatedly struck me while driving in a car on August 16, 2024. This is when she was pregnant, you guys. Sorry, no, she wasn't pregnant. This is when the son was already born. Sorry, Halle was born. So she repeatedly struck DDG while he was driving her car at the time, while leaving the Bruno Mars concert in Los Angeles. Halle repeatedly struck DDG allegedly while they were parked outside her house during a custody exchange on January 18, 2025. That was the incident she claimed he chipped her tooth. Then falsely claimed that he slammed her head into the steering wheel. So he's saying she lied. And then petitioner on multiple occasions has physically attacked me during custodial exchanges of Halle, including but not limited to grabbing and pulling Halle from his arms. So let's keep going. Then he says, let's see where he's at right here. Petitioner has surveyed me through the surreptitious use of Apple AirTags placed within my vehicle. Petitioner showed up uninvited to events, including movie theater and studio sessions, often resulting in confrontations. Dang, she sounds like one of them controlling, insecure, crazy, lunatic girlfriends. If this is true, I don't know. Halle pushed, and again, I don't blame Halle because now DDG, there were rumors that were going around that said that DDG had cheated on Halle the entire relationship. Any woman that's being cheated on is probably going to act like this. I'm not going to lie, but you have to learn how to have self boundaries and confidence in yourself and self-love. You should not be in a relationship with a person this long as Halle did and be acting that crazy and a fool like this. I know some women do act crazy over the man they love, but you have to love yourself enough to walk away. This is like to the point where you're lowering yourself. Halle lowered herself and her value for some man. And that's just something you should learn, is that you should never get to this point. If a man is not respecting your boundaries, he's not faithful to you, he's threatening your physical health. If he's out here sleeping with all kind of women like people are claiming, because actually there was a fan base group that DDG had, and people from that group divulged evidence that DDG had been having sexual relations with women throughout the entire relationship that he was with Halle. So I get why Halle's hurt, but what Halle should have done is leave him. But she instead gave up her entire value over some man, begging and pleading the whole years, threatening her life, beating and slapping allegedly this man to keep him around. And then if this is true, though, like I said, I don't know who to believe in this situation. The judge is going to have a whole field day trying to decipher who's telling the truth, because this is a hot mess. But if DDG is telling the truth, y'all, this woman sound like something wrong. And mind you guys have to know Halle's background. Halle grew up in a household that was full of domestic violence. If you don't know, her dad used to physically batter her mother. In fact, she had called the police on him before, and he had had criminal charges filed against him. Now, that's a situation where you can see a legit domestic violence situation because there was criminal charges filed. That's why I told you from the beginning, I questioned Halle's story, because when she kept saying she was filing these police reports and there were no criminal charges filed, I knew right then and there she wasn't telling the full story. I knew it, because if a prosecutor got a hold of this, seeing that chipped tooth in that arm, they would have filed charges. I think what happened, if she did in fact file charges, I think the prosecutor would have threw the case out because it was mutual combat. If they're both hitting each other, there's nothing to charge there. And that burden in criminal court is higher than a civil court. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. So there wouldn't have been sufficient evidence for a prosecutor to proceed with filing domestic violence, which tells me this is not really a situation where DDG is the one solely beating on Halle and she's just the victim. It looks like it's a situation where both parties are mutually beating and harming and being toxic and crazy to one another. They both look like they're just crazy. You know, they both have issues. They both need to work out stuff within themselves, get therapy, get anger management, parenting classes, because it seems like both parties are crazy. That's what it seems like to me. Or not even crazy, but more so irrational and emotionally and impulsive. That's what I would say. But anyways, petitioner struck me while we were parked outside her house during a custody exchange, then falsely claimed I slammed her face into a steering wheel. Petitioner on multiple occasions has physically attacked me during custodial exchanges of Halle, including but not limited to grabbing and pulling Halle from my arms. And this is all the statements in his filing that he filed. Petitioner has surveyed me through the surreptitious use of air tags within my vehicles. Petitioner shows up uninvited to events, including movie theaters, studio, often including confrontations. Petitioner pushed me and attempted to attack my companion while outside a movie theater in June of 2023. Now, this part is just straight up shady. Okay. Why does he have a companion when he's in a relationship with Halle during this time frame? Mind you, they reconciled in June. They reconciled around April of 2023 when he found out she was pregnant, because they have broke up in 2023. Nobody knew this because it looked like they were together and they were happy all these years. But reality is, based on the text messages that DDG provided and based on a song that Halle wrote, you guys, Halle wrote a song recently for Valentine's called Back and Forth. Every song that Halle writes has realness and accuracy. You guys need to listen to her songs because she's actually telling you a story. In her recent song, Back and Forth, she talks about how in her relationship, they're going back and forth. They're ending their relationship and they're reconciling. And now in the end, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep going back and forth. Well, DDG is confirming what she said in that song throughout his text messages and the stuff he's providing. He's showing that they had been breaking up left and right throughout the 2.5 years they were together. Sorry, was it 2.5? Because they started in 2021 and they broke up in 2024. So it looks like 3 years they were together or whatever. They have been breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. Their relationship was completely toxic and unstable. So he's corroborating in his declaration what she said in her song. So that to me gives some truth to the toxicity and the instability of the relationship that they had been having this back and forth that Halle had confirmed in her song. So that part we could say is true. And that part can show that there is some toxicity on Halle's side too, because even in her song, All Because I Love You, you could tell she was one of this possessive girlfriend who was trying to keep the attention of her man, who was just out here wondering, has a wondering eye like DDG had throughout the relationship. See, Halle had been corroborating all this stuff in her songs and people didn't see that. You got to listen to them songs, y'all. Them songs is telling you out of tea. Okay. But anyway, let's get back to this court document here. Petitioner frequently, this part's crazy, y'all. So this part right here, where I find DDG to be wrong. He's at a movie theater with another woman calling her a companion, right? While his pregnant girlfriend is at home crying. Because in her text messages, she said she's at home crying all alone, trying to get a hold of DDG, and he's out on a date. Now, mind you, she knows this is a date because the very first date that she had with DDG was at dinner. And then after the dinner, they went to a movie theater. Okay. That was the first date that they had. So a movie theater has very huge symbolic meaning to Halle because during their first date, they went to the movie theaters after their dinner date. So when she found out he's out with another woman to the theater, she automatically equated that to romance or some type of romantic relationship, romantic date going on, because that was how they first started their relationship. So I get Halle as a pregnant woman with your child, DDG, and you out here with a whole other female. That's straight out wrong. He tries to gaslight and make it sound like he's so innocent. If you have a woman you really love who's pregnant with your child, why are you out with all these different women? And why are you going to a movie theater with a different woman when you should be taking your own woman out? That's just messy. It's just, that part is straight up wrong. And I get why she was acting the way she was acting. I totally get her on that one. But anyways, he's going to gaslight it and make it look like she's just some crazy woman that came out of nowhere when she has a legit reason to be like that. A pregnant woman while your man out here with another woman, how would you feel? Anyways, petitioner has frequently used racial slurs and profane language. The racial slur part, I'm like, this is something that a white attorney wrote. I'm gonna keep it real. A white attorney wrote that. Only a white attorney would write some stupid stuff like that. They are both black. How is she saying something racial to another black person? Boy, bye. They both black. I know that was a white attorney that wrote that. I'm just keeping it real because he trying to amplify this up to make it look like she racist against her own black men. Girl, bye. Anyways, has frequently used racial slurs and profane language directed at me in front of others, including family, friends, and our child. Petitioner has disintegrated and demeaned my masculinity, saying I was not man enough for her. Oh, Lord. Don't tell a man that he is not man enough, y'all. Do not tell. That is the most demeaning thing you could tell to a man. You could break a man's soul when you try to question their masculinity. So I know that broke DDG. He even said it again throughout this declaration. So you know he was hurt about that part. He probably still questioning his manhood over this. I'm just keeping it real. Petitioner exercises coercive control over me by withholding access to our son, Halle, based upon my refusal to abide by her dictates and demands. Petitioner frequently changes agreed upon custody arrangements without notice, denying my access to Halle as a tool for control or punishment. Petitioner blocks communications, demanding that all communications involving Halle proceed through my mother. Now, I think that was a good idea to block communications because they both can't get along. They're both crazy, cussing each other out, calling each other bees and all kinds of things. And I think it was a smart move to communicate through his mother because they seem to can't really communicate to one another. The relationship is pretty volatile and not stable. So I think that was a good decision. Anyways, petitioner during emotional outbursts has destroyed my personal property, including my laptop that contained critical music and content work. Okay, now Halle, you messing with this man's money. DDG said in his text messages that his monthly bills are $40,000 a month, y'all. $40,000 a month. Yeah, $40,000 a month. So you're messing with this man's money when you're damaging his laptop that he uses to do content on. So that right there was pretty sinister. And the reason why she damaged his laptop because he wouldn't let her see his phone. So if that's true, that is some sinister, evil work right there. You don't take somebody's ability to do their job, he needs the money. Now in the comments here, King Ice says, okay, I know this is evidence, but stop saying I don't know and get your facts right. Sir, we're here to read and try to determine allegations. So if you don't like it, you can just leave the live. That's just how it is. We're looking at the evidence, but we don't have all the pieces of evidence. This is a declaration from DDG. So that is how it is. We're looking at it and we're going to give opinions. Of course, I don't know because I wasn't there and you weren't there and no one in the chat was there. So we have to be able to put our thinking cap on and try to determine what our opinion is going to ultimately be. Okay? So that's why I'm saying I don't know, because I don't know these people personally. And So the evidence looks questionable, and I'm going to question that. You can give your own opinion too. Okay, so going back to this, let's see if we can find the laptop thing here. Okay, anyways, so she destroyed his laptop. That's just crazy, y'all. That's evil. If it's true, that is, because you're messing with this man's livelihood. But at the same time, if he has $40,000 in bills, how come he's not financially providing for this son that he wants custody of? Because the reason why I think he wants custody, because he don't want to pay that child support. Now, Halle is filing for child support. So usually men do not like paying child support, y'all. I'm going to keep it all the way real. And so what do? They want full custody because they don't want to pay. And this child is now 1.5 years old. And Halle claims that she has been the only one providing for him. So I'm like, man, if you got this kind of money, DDG, you need to cough up that money and pay, to support your child if you claim you love this child as much as you're claiming. Anyways, petitioner stole my legally owned firearm during an argument in August of 2023, guys. And this is when she was pregnant. She was found outside the house in possession of it. Dang, that's some crazy lunatic stuff right there. Okay, sorry guys, we gotta wait for this advertisement to go away before we can look at the rest of it. I hate this advertisement stuff. Okay, anyways, let's go to this part right here. In early 2022, our relationship deteriorated after petitioner became verbally aggressive, largely due to her growing hostility related to my professional collaborations with other women and her fixation on my past relationships. During Grammy weekend in February 2022, and y'all, this was before she was pregnant, y'all. Listen to this part. This is very, very disturbing. Petitioner became enraged over text messages between me and a previous girlfriend. Now, this is during the time. This is talking about that Ruby Rose. Remember that situation in 2022 when they allegedly had broke up during that time, and he text messaged Ruby Rose. Let's tell you what she did. Okay, allegedly, an argument ensued where Halle text messaged another man. So when he was texting Ruby Rose, she returned by texting another man to get back at him, right? And she was arranging to meet him at 2 a.m. So remember when DDG went on Twitter and he was like, man, all these women out here are the same? Well, allegedly, that was because Halle was out here texting another man because she saw him texting Ruby Rose. Now, I'm going to keep it real. If I'm in Halle's shoes and I see my man texting an ex, I'm going to be mad too. So I don't blame Halle for texting another man. I'm sorry. I would have been petty like that too, but I probably would have just left the house. That's how I would have handled it. I'm not really about to do all that and waste my time with a man who just wasted my time. But I don't mind her. I don't blame her on this part for being petty and texting another man, because it's like, dude, if you're going to be out here texting your ex, that's just straight out rude. And you're in front of your woman doing that. That's so rude and low. So DDG, I'm on Halle's side on that one. Boy, bye. Okay, then he says, following a Grammy party after party, although my messages were platonic, I don't care. It was wrong for you to be texting your ex in front of your girlfriend. That's rude. It was platonic in nature. Boy, bye. If it was so platonic, how come Ruby Rose released those text messages saying that, why are you messaging me when you're having a problem with your girl? So it doesn't seem platonic to me. And you're like, yeah, let me go heal first. That doesn't sound platonic to me. It doesn't. It sounds like he was trying to get back with your ex, and she was like, boy, bye. Why are you trying to text me just because you're having arguments with your girl? So that doesn't sound platonic to me. He's lying in these documents already. Anyway, Halle fixated on them, retaliated by texting this other individual. So that part I disagree. I don't think that, sir, you're just a cheater and you're unfaithful. Like, you're not acknowledging what a jerk you've been to this girl. You've been cheating on her. You made her feel like she didn't matter to you. You ignored her throughout the relationship, basically. But she's just as crazy. She should have walked away. But still, DDG's trying to act like he's innocent and she's just this crazy woman, and it's a one-sided situation. But in reality, it's both parties are doing wrong things in a relationship. Anyway, this marked the point at which I attempted to end our relationship. Despite my attempts to end the relationship, petitioner continued to contact and pursue me. Over time, her persistence elicited a sense of sympathy in me, which ultimately led to our reconciliation. So back in 2022, before she even was pregnant, y'all, that when that Ruby Rose incident happened, right? They have broke up. And so he started texting Ruby Rose. He broke up with her because she was texting the other man, right? After that, she begged for him to get back with him after that, right? Because he was like, well, if you're going to text another man, it's over. So that's when he sent that whole message online talking about all women are the same. He had broke up with her at that time. And she came back, was like begging and begging and begging and pleading and like, take me back, blah, blah, blah. So he got back with her and then they were all good again. That's when, remember, they unfollowed each other and all that stuff. Well, then eventually they followed each other again. Well, she had allegedly, he's claiming she begged him all that time to get him back, basically. This is crazy, y'all. Unfortunately, following our reunion, her behavior grew increasingly volatile, characterized by escalating verbal abuse and eventually physical aggression. Shortly thereafter, we reconciled, and despite our best intentions, the relationship continued to suffer because of petitioner's insecurity. Sir, this is something I really get frustrated. This is a pet peeve of mine when men say this stuff. Oh, she's insecure. This really gets on my nerves. The reason why it irritates me is because a lot of times men do things to cause the woman and trigger her insecurity. Like in this situation, he's talking to other women. He's texting ex-girlfriends. He's going on dates with other women while she's pregnant. Those type of behavior, it triggers insecurity in any woman. But yet they want to use manipulation and claim, oh, you're just insecure. You're insecure. No, sir, it's your behavior that's igniting the insecurity in her. But men like him will gaslight the woman and make her look like she's the person that is out here imagining stuff in her head. That's what narcissists do. They will create situations and then they gaslight you, deflect, and make it look like you're crazy. And that's a form of mental abuse as well. That's why I don't agree with him about this insecurity thing. I think he is the blame for her being insecure. That is my humble opinion. Because if he was doing right by her and being faithful to her, she wouldn't be out here insecure. She'd have no reason to be. Okay. But anyways, let's go back to this talking about insecure. Okay. He says, shortly thereafter, we reconciled. Despite our best intentions, the relationship continued to suffer because of petitioner's insecurity. Well, sir, if this is in 2022, why did you proceed to 2023 and get the girl pregnant? That's what I'm trying to find out. You sleeping with the girl unprotected, and you talk about how crazy she is, but yet this don't make sense, y'all. This is in 2022. Can you believe this? Before they even got pregnant, okay? Petitioner continued to accuse me of impropriety whenever I spent time in the studios or collaborated with female artists or content creators. Petitioner would, okay, now here's the thing I would tell any woman. If you are not confident in yourself, do not date a content creator. Just don't do it. Because they're going to be around women all the time. They're going to be socializing. And if you feel like that's something that you just cannot handle, don't do it. Just don't even put yourself in that situation. And that's what Halle should have not even got involved with him, because she already knew what type of man he was. And she lowered her standards and allowed herself to do that. Okay, yes. Let me see what Sincerely has to say. She said, we are grown, though. Whether it's a trigger or not, we have the choice to walk away. We cannot enable her behavior. And I 100% agree with you, girl. I do not enable her behavior. I'm looking at this from both sides and giving different perspectives from different sides of it. So I'm not really necessarily enabling her behavior, more so in analyzing it from different sides. I'm not sure if you just joined, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing throughout the live, is kind of analyzing both sides from different perspectives here. But anyways, petitioner continued to accuse me of impropriety. Petitioner would initiate arguments and that was premised upon speculation and jealousy. Her constant accusations, having no basis in fact, utterly destroyed my peace of mind and emotional calm. Dang. So it seems like he was really having legit good just collaborations he's claiming that he was having these very platonic collaborations with different females or whatever. And Halle immediately was jumping to these conclusions, right? Just automatically accusing him of cheating. And if DDG is correct, that's just crazy. that's wrong on her part, and she really needs to go do some self-reflection and work on herself before she gets in a relationship, because she doesn't seem to have the mental capacity to be in a relationship, in a healthy relationship at this time, because that's just sad if she's doing this to this man, preventing him. And, you know, he did somewhat hint to this in certain interviews. If you look at some of his interviews, he would hint to this. He said one of the things he regretted about being in relationships is he felt like his partner had controlled him and prevented him from doing content. So this somewhat corroborates what he said in some of his interviews. So in my opinion, this might be true, because he has said this in prior interviews, that he felt like his relationship prevented him from doing collaborations. They always want to spend time with you. He didn't get to do a lot of videos, and so he was happy. Sorry, he didn't get to do a lot of collaborations because of his relationship, and so he said he was happy to be single because of that. And he said that in an interview. So this court document here, his declaration, seems to corroborate his prior statements, which to me gives it some validity. Petitioner would routinely compare my relationship to those I've had with former partners, which is Ruby Rose, y'all, particularly another rapper, Ruby Rose. So Halle was very insecure about Ruby Rose, y'all. She kept bringing up Ruby Rose, and you know why? Because he had been text messaging her in front of him. So she could not let go of that Ruby Rose thing. She would bring it up all the time because she was so insecure about it. Right? Very insecure. So, anyway, she's talking about this rapper, and she said Petitioner would use these comparisons to undermine and criticize me. As a result, Petitioner's jealousy and insecurities, I found myself entangled in an on-again, off-again relationship marked by ongoing emotional volatility, unresolved conflict, and repeated attempts at reconciliation that ultimately failed to establish lasting stability. Dang, this poor guy, if this is true, this man was going through it. She had this man stressed out. I feel for DDG if this is true. If it's true. Okay, I don't know what's true or what's not, but if this is true, poor DDG was going through it, and anybody would lose their mind and just be like, dang, what did I get myself into? He was being stressed out. Petitioner conduct and interference with respect to my access and time spent with Halle is used to control me. Petitioner limits my ability to be a father to our son, particularly when I refuse to accede to her demands. Now, I don't know if I believe that part, because Halle did provide text messages of her trying to facilitate a visitation with DDG through his mom. So she would send text messages to his mother and try to schedule visitations. So it seems like she was really trying to let him see his kids. So I don't know about that part, because she showed proof of that. So again, I don't know. And we'll see if her text messages are actually true. That is another thing that's going to have to be determined in court. But anyways, he said Petitioner, here says Petitioner's obstruction is retaliatory and habitually occurs when I refuse to follow Petitioner's dictates. And I don't know if I believe that. Here's the part where I kind of question that story. Remember that time when she went to that, I don't know if it was a award show or something, but she was reunited with her co-star from Little Mermaid, and she took video with him on Instagram. Why all of a sudden did DDG start acting up? He went to her house. He broke her phone, her Ring camera that during that night. He was out there demanding to see the kid when the kid was sick with RSV. It just sounds like he was jealous of her reconciling with that Little Mermaid co-star during that awards event this year. So I'm like, DDG, you sound like you're using the visitation thing to control her as well, because you're just trying to come whenever you want to come to see her. That just seems suspect to me. Okay. So I wonder about that too. And he says, Petitioner will attempt to exert control over my streaming content, my streaming associations, or my refusal to reconcile with her. Dang, y'all. So she tries to control. Dang. Y'all, Halle was crazy if this is attempt. This girl was sending him all kind of crazy messages, trying to get him to come back to her, threatening to take her life, stab herself. Let's go to the text messages. Forget all this. Let's get to the real tea. Well, first, let's read this last part. Despite multiple attempts to reconcile, For the sake of our child, petitioner behavior has escalated to include physical violence, emotional manipulation, threats of self-harm, and coercive control. I am now seeking protection for myself and our son. He says that they do verbal abuse. She does verbal abuse. She said, F you, N-word, stupid ass bitch, calling me bitch during arguments. So remember, she put in her filings that he called her bitch. Well, she been calling him bitch too. So she's not innocent, y'all. Petitioner would frequently demean me by telling me I am not enough of a man for her. See, he says this again, y'all. He was hurt by that. He said it. He was so hurt he had to say it again. He said these verbal assaults often occurred in the presence of others, including family members, and most troubling, our infant child. Incidents of this nature occurred repeatedly throughout our relationship. Dang, y'all, this tells you there is two sides to a story, y'all. Two sides to a story. You just never know what the truth is. This is mind-boggling when you read the court documents, okay? Anyways, let's get back to this part right here. It says, pregnancy-related emotional abuse and coercion. Despite the instability, petitioner disclosed in or about April of 2023. Now, guys, listen to this part. This part is crazy. That she was pregnant with our son. We had multiple conversations of our plans to co-parent together, even though our relationship had ended. Despite recognizing that our relationship was unstable, I still wanted to move forward with having our child and was prepared to take on that responsibility. At the same time, I made it clear to petitioner that I would support whatever decision she ultimately made regarding the pregnancy, so long as I was kept informed and included in the process. My only request was to be a part of the decision. Now, notice this, guy. This is a key part, right? They had ended their relationship back in 2023, and this was never disclosed to the public. This whole time, y'all, we thought they were together. They never released about this. But look at this. He's saying back in April 2023, he said they had ended their relationship. Oh my gosh. So they weren't even together, but they were faking it. See, that's how you know these celebrity relationships be fake. All of us online thought in 2023 they were together. But no, they were broke up. And we over here thinking they're a couple, they having fun, blah, 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 right here. But right here, he said they done broke up. So when they weren't together, right, she found out that she was pregnant. So she went back to talk to him and be like, look, I'm pregnant. I don't know if I want this kid. He's like, well, you know, whatever you decide, if you do want the kid, then I'll be a part of the kid. Now, this is very important, you guys, because people in the public kept saying, you know, before we knew all the real tea that was going on, allegedly, people kept blaming DDG, saying, you trapped Halle, you over here trapped this girl, messed up her career, blah, 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 right? But it sounds to me like that's not the plan. He didn't intend to get her pregnant. It seemed like it wasn't an intention, because he was like kind of shocked when she said she was pregnant. He was like, well, if you do want the kid, I'll be there as a father, you know, just let me know what you want to do with the kid. So it didn't seem like he was trying to force her at the time to have that child. So that kind of changes the story, where people kept accusing him of like trapping her because she's a celebrity and he's a YouTuber. But it don't seem like that's the case here. It seems like he was okay with either decision she made, you know, she chose to do with the child. But in June of 2023, I discovered petitioner attempted to terminate the pregnancy without my knowledge. Okay. This is interesting. Okay. Were they together June 2023? Because he said they were broke up. He didn't say they ever got back together. So, guys, this is the time when they're not together, because he said they ended their relationship, but he was cool with like co-parenting, right? So he's single, basically, right? So in June of 2023, he found out she tried to terminate the pregnancy without his knowledge or consent, regardless of their prior discussions to parent the child together. On or about June 6, 2023, petitioner contacted me complaining that she was bleeding and in pain. In my effort to assist, I contacted her OBGYN and learned that petitioner had attempted to abort the baby, but failed to take the second abortion dose. Now, this part to me would violate HIPAA. This is why I don't believe his story there when he claims that this OBGYN would tell him personal medical information that Halle did not consent to. So I don't believe that story right there. I don't know if that's actually true. Because if this is true, OBGYN is going to be sued because that violates HIPAA. If she didn't give consent for him to have that knowledge, that doctor had no legal authority to disclose that to DDG. So if this is true, that OBGYN needs to be sued. Okay. Or lose their license for that one. Anyway, he says he learned it from the OBGYN that petitioner attempted to take her life. So following this discovery, I spoke to Halle and asked why she would abort our child after we had agreed to co-parent together. Petitioner threatened me by demanding that we reconcile or she would go through with the abortion. This was the most troubling of her attempts to coerce and control. Dang. Coercively control me. Following this threat to abort the pregnancy, coupled with the fact that she attempted to abort without informing me, I made the decision to cut ties with her. I could no longer be subjected to her controlling behavior, and I wondered whether her actions may have jeopardized the health and well-being of our unborn child. So he was pretty much done with her by this point, right? And this is still in 2023, y'all. This is crazy because none of us knew this was going on. We were sitting here thinking that they're a happy couple. They got photos all up and stuff. And they over here having all this this is all the drama unfolding through all this. Isn't this crazy, y'all? Anyway, following this threat to abort the pregnancy, coupled with the fact that she attempted to abort without informing me, I made the decision to cut ties with her. And he said, despite making it clear I wanted out of the relationship, petitioner insisted that the baby was unharmed. And then Halle informed me that she began attending multiple medical appointments in an effort to reassure me. These appointments appeared less about transparency and more about convincing me to stay. Ultimately, we learned that our baby was miraculously healthy, moved by the outcome and motivated by the desire to preserve a sense of family for my unborn child. In June 2023 is when he chose to reconcile with petitioner once again in hopes of creating a stable environment for our child. So if DDG is right, it sounds like for these last 3 years, she's been the one doing all these crazy, desperate attempts to keep him, taking her life, threatening to take her life, threatening to kill the baby, threatening all these different things. She sounds like she is unhinged. If this is true, y'all, if these allegations are true, she sounds like she is a psychopath and she needs some therapy. Like, oh my God. Oh, this is gonna mess up all her career. I'm telling you. I don't know if she's gonna get I don't know. It's not looking good. I don't even know if she's gonna do this Italiana movie now. They probably gonna withdraw their contract and be like, we gonna get another actress for this, because this don't look good, right? If it's turned out this is true. But a lot of these agencies jump to conclusions off the bat, and they probably just start withdrawing from the stars before there's even a determination by a court a lot of times. But anyways, let's see what this happens here. So they got back together, y'all, back in June. Now, I don't know how close this was when he started dating the other girl, but that's just kind of weird. That's the part I don't know the timeline on. But anyways, they're in a relationship, and true to form, petitioner in an effort to control me once again repeatedly threatened to proceed with the abortion and or express regret that she had not already done so. These repeated threats and comments caused me severe emotional harm and distress, y'all. Okay, now he's saying that she's stalking him, because remember, she said that he was stalking her. Sorry, guys, we gotta wait for these ads to go away again. Let's try to get this stuff to go away. All right, good, we back. Okay. Oh no, what did I just do? I want to get to the text messages though. Hold on, let's get to the text messages. Okay, we're here, some text messages. Let's go here first. Because once you guys see the text message, you're gonna be like, this is crazy. Okay, so this one says, that's not right. I have to go. This is from Halle. All the gray is Halle. This is crazy. And it looks like she's shooting off these text messages all at once. She's like, that's not right. I have to go. I've been so nice. I've been calm. I've not broken your property or anything. That's crazy. And the reason why I'm laughing at that, because remember, he claims she broke his laptop. So this just sounds crazy. Like she's saying, look, I didn't break your property this time. Wow. Okay. Then this is in 2023 when she's pregnant, right? And they got back together allegedly. She said, I have to go. I'm pregnant and you're trying to cause me more stress for no reason. I said this morning respectfully, I'm not arguing with you anymore. See, this is one-sided. You know why? Because we don't know what happened before she sent these text messages. Now, when they were together, we don't know if he was cussing her out, doing things to her to make her react this way later. That's why I feel like this is so incomplete. The evidence we're getting right now, it's not giving us the full picture of why she's reacting this way. Like, it's just giving a partial picture. That's why I told you there's two sides of the story, and I don't even know for sure how we can accurately judge both sides, because it's like, we don't have the full picture. We don't know what happened during their conversation. Maybe they had an argument and he was cussing her out, verbally abusing her at the house, and then he left and then she sent these messages to him. Like that's what I'm saying. I just feel like this is like so incomplete on both sides. So you kind of just are left with not really knowing who to really believe at this point. But anyways, let's keep going. She says, because she's claiming that he's causing her stress. And I'm like, well, we didn't get to see what he did to cause her stress. Because again, we don't know what happened when they're not texting. We only see what's typed. We don't know what's verbally communicated to each other. She says, you want to be petty and you can be petty by yourself. Like, again, we don't have any context. What did he do to be petty? Then she says, stop blocking me. So he's blocking her. She says, okay, I gave you a chance. You ruined my whole day. I have to work and your computer is broken now. Goodbye. So I don't know what argument they had that led to her breaking his computer. But this seems to suggest they had an argument earlier that day. I read the court documents on this. They had an argument earlier that day because she tried to take his phone and then she ended up hitting him in front of his friend and in front of his mom. And he got his phone back from her. And then so she ran into the room, took his laptop, went out and ran out with his laptop. And he tried to get his laptop back and she broke it. Now that to me was very evil because like I said, he uses his laptop to create his content for his YouTube. He needs the laptop. So she cut off his source of income by destroying his laptop and the content on there. And he needs that money because, like I said, he's taking care of his mama, his dad, everybody. He pays about $40,000 a month in bills. That's crazy. He living way beyond his means, mind you, because that's just crazy, okay? Just because you're making money, you shouldn't be. That's crazy. Anyways, let's get back to it. She broke his laptop. Okay, she said, let's keep going. Okay, so she said goodbye now. She said, hey, this is Halle again. Whew, this girl crazy. She said, hey, so I'm going to stop calling you now. You've cheated on me. And I've literally caught you with another girl last night. And today you stolen my car. Now, guys, mind you, remember he put in his declaration that in June they got back together because he wanted to try to reconcile with her to see if they could have a family for the sake of their unborn child. But after he got back in a relationship with her in June, he turned around and went on that date with the other girl. This is messy, okay? So I'm on Halle's side on this. How would you feel? You're a pregnant woman. You got back with your man, and your man's out here at the movie theaters with another woman. And I get why she did the air tags. People might say that's crazy because we're looking at it from a one-sided situation. But if there's been 2 prior years history of this man cheating on you, texting his ex-girlfriend, doing all this messy stuff with different women, of course you're going to try to find out the truth. So he did all this stuff to cause her to be insecure. And then all of a sudden he want to claim like he's a victim. It's like, boy, bye. You doing all this stuff to trigger her. But anyways, she said, I caught you with another girl last night. And today you've stolen my car while I'm pregnant. I can't do this anymore. I tried to call you to tell you I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm leaving work now. I'm tired and tried. Please don't try and say I didn't tell you when I'm blowing up your phone. I can't see it. Look, he's constantly ignoring her. He just acts like she's like this pest that keeps bothering and harassing him. He don't even give a care about her. Anyway, she says, I can't do this if this is how it's going to be. I want to be free. Wish you the best in everything that you do in the future. So she's just trying to be done with him. She's like, I'm tired of you cheating. I'm tired of all this mess. Then he says, how come you take my things and I can't take yours. So this is the part, you guys, where, okay, she took his laptop and then he went and took her car keys. So they were being petty to each other. He had her car keys while she had his laptop. And so he's telling her, well, you could take my laptop, but then I can't take your stuff. Like, come on, you want things your way. You trying to, this is like hypocrisy, basically. Then he said, just give me my laptop back and I'll happily give you your car keys. So that's how they was going. They was holding each other's property hostage at this point. He said, I'll bring you your keys when you get home. Just let me know when you're home. And this relationship was a mess. Oh, I can't do it. This relationship made me want to be single. I'm like, man. Woo. Anyways, Halle then says, I'm home. And this was at 7:22. So he texted her at 6:42 to say, let me know when you're home. I'll bring your keys. So she texted him at 6:42, he told her, I'll bring you your keys when you get home. Then at 7:22, she texted him back. It was like, I'm home. And then she says, take me to dinner. The nerve after they had to fight. These people are bipolar. 1 minute they cool. They just crazy. Anyway, she talked about take me to dinner after they had this full argument about him cheating. And this is sad too. Why won't you take your pregnant woman to the movie theater? You out here taking another woman and you don't even take your woman on dates anymore. That's messed up. She has to ask you to take her to dinner when you happily took another woman to the movie theaters while she's pregnant with your kid. Oh my God. Like, I'm sorry. I empathize with Halle. I get why Halle was acting a fool. I do. I'm not gonna lie. Any woman, y'all don't try to act innocent in the chat. You know, if your man was out here cheating left and right and you barefoot pregnant with his kid and he ignoring your phone calls, you would be mad too. And he won't even have the nerve to take you on a date. So you have to ask your man to take you on a date. She had to literally ask him to take her to dinner. That's sad. She said, take me to dinner. We need to have a civil conversation. This is just sad. Anyway, she said, I'm not going back and forth with you anymore. Look at that song. Look at that's from her song. You know that song she just did in February? Back and forth. You know, I want to do it back and forth. This is all about her relationship with DDG, y'all. She been telling us the whole time about this relationship, and y'all been ignoring it in her songs. This is a mess. Anyway, DDG says at 7:27, he said, if you're going to actually listen to me, I will. And then she responds, I'm not listening to you demean or insult me anymore. So don't even try it. I am hurt. I am hurt by you enough. Now, guys, DDG is not as stupid as you guys think. Notice how, see, he's been through this before with Ruby Rose. So he knows not to write anything demeaning to her in text message form. What I think DDG does is he verbally insults her when he speaks to her audibly, but when it's on text message, he is very careful to make it look like he's very kind and all that because he knows these text messages can be used against him. See, DDG is a very experienced YouTuber, and he has dated women in the past, and Ruby Rose has divulged stuff about him in the past. So he is very careful. He knows anything he does is content. It doesn't matter if it's a personal relationship. It can eventually be divulged to the public like it is right now, right? So when I was reading these messages, I'm like, there's no context. She's claiming all these things and you don't see it anywhere in the evidence. It's because he verbally does these things to her and then she reacts to him when he leaves and messages him. See, she's not too smart because she's moved by her emotions. She's very impulsive. And so she's moved by her emotions. And so when he does crazy stuff to her, when he's in person with her, and he's more composed with it. That's the evil thing about DDG is he's more composed. She's more impulsive. That's the problem here because he knows how to verbally insult her. And then she writes in evidence form. And then he knows he can keep this evidence for later in court. That's the difference between the two parties. Because if you look at this doesn't make any sense to any of us. We're like, well, you're saying he's insulting you, but I'm looking at these text messages and I haven't seen him once insult you. It seems like you crazy, Halle, and he's over here trying to be the composed person. How DDG orchestrated this the entire relationship, y'all. The entire relationship. He was smart about it. He knew that he wanted to make this relationship more of a social media thing so he can come up on his career, whatever. People say, oh, well, he's this YouTuber, but I think he wanted to use her more so for his career to elevate more so. So he was smart. Anytime he insulted her, he did it verbally. And he was also recording conversations with her because he knew eventually this would come out later. And he was holding all this evidence to use against her. And she over here thinking she's in a real relationship the whole time. He was not really feeling her the whole time. That's sad, guys. The whole time he was just using this girl for clout. And I know some of his supporters are going to get mad when they hear me say that. But in my opinion, he never wanted Halle. Like, this text messages show it right here. She's out here desperately trying to get this man. And he's just not feeling her. Like, look how nonchalant he is. Anyway, she's saying he's demeaning and insulting her. We haven't seen that one bit of these text messages, which tells me he's smart. And he's doing this stuff when he sees her in person, y'all. Clock that T. Anyway, so she says, I'm not listening to you demean or insult me anymore, so don't even try it. I am hurt by you enough. And again, people who are reading this is confused. They're like, Halle, what are you saying? He's not even doing anything. But like I said, DDG this whole time knew what he was doing, y'all. Halle says, if you're not going to be gentle with me when I'm going through this hard time, then we don't need to talk. Okay, this is some more stuff. I don't want to even read this stuff. I just want to read the text messages. So if you guys want to listen to the whole thing, you can go to this guy's page here. His title is DDG claps back at Halle. He has the whole thing, but I just want to really go through the text messages because that's kind of what it's going to give us the full picture. Anyways, Halle says, this is dated March 2022. This is why I said these text messages look kind of weird to me. Why does it say Daryl's phone? Like, that's weird. Like, does he really put his name on his phone? Daryl's phone. And it says iPhone. So it's an iPhone, and iPhone doesn't say view. That's what I'm saying. Like, really, what's the authenticity of this? This is questionable. I don't know. Okay, let's try to get back to the text messages. Threats to self-harm. Petitioner routinely used emotional coercion and manipulation to exert her control over me, often threatening me by using self-harm. Yeah, we already talked about that before. I want to get to the text messages, y'all. Anyways, Exhibit 4 says, no to this tweet. Okay, so she tried to control, allegedly. This is March 10th, 2022. This is early on in their relationship. So basically, the tweet that she's talking about is a tweet about Donald Trump. So DDG's like backing Donald Trump, and Halle's like, why did you post about Donald Trump? So she's like, no to this tweet. And then DDG's like, this is back in March 10, 2022. He says, what's wrong with it? And she's like, Donald, of all people, let's not, laughing my A off. And then DDG says, it is not that deep, LOL. She says, it is though. Yeah, DDG. Okay, I'm with Halle on this. She's like, Donald is racist, a racist man who doesn't care about us. Okay, Halle is smart on that one. Halle, I'm with you on that, girl. I'm with you on that, okay? So after this little argument about Donald, right, it turns crazy after that. So she does that. This is March 2022, y'all. This is crazy. After that, then he leaves, okay? So look at this. This doesn't, like, you look at this, and it's like, it's bits and pieces of what happened in the situation. These text messages do not create a clear story, a complete story of what really is going on. That's why I hope June 6th really tells us, like when they have the hearing to determine, when the court is going to determine whether or not he is going to grant a permanent restraining order or he's going to deny that from Halle. This doesn't give us a full picture. Look at this. She says, why would you leave? Now, again, we don't know what they discussed when they were in each other's presence, because all of a sudden he leaves, right? And he says out of nowhere, look, and she said this at 6:46, right? And then he says at 6:47, I'm done with the threats. That's why I'm like, well, what threats did she say? Like, again, we're not getting the full picture. Like, this is all little bits and pieces, and we really can't decipher who is what. You know what I mean? What did she say to him? Like, what happened when they were together? We don't know. That's a whole missing piece of the puzzle. And then she says, stop being this way. And then she sends this photo to him. I don't know what she sent to him here because they didn't give us that. But she's like, answer the effing phone. So she starts calling him, right? And then he starts sending her straight to voicemail. It seemed like she been chasing this man the whole relationship, y'all. She just been pursuing this man and he is not feeling her like that, right? So she's like, answer the effing phone. Answer the effing phone. She does it again at 6:49. She's just sitting back to back to back. Look at this. It's all 6:49. That's a crazy woman right there. I'm not gonna lie. If this is real text messages, that's an unhinged person. But look at this is the iPhone, right? It says Daryl's iPhone, which is weird. It says viewed at this time. Why does it say viewed, y'all? That's weird. The only explanation I can think of is that they subpoenaed this record from DDG's phone company, and maybe the phone company has a different record transcript than what DDG can provide from his phone. That's the only explanation I could possibly think of, because that's just weird, okay? But anyway, and this is 2022 before she got pregnant. She said, I'm going to try one more time. Damn, Halle, you scaring me, girl. You got me scared. I'm like, damn, this girl sound like one of those Fatal Attraction. Okay. Oh, Lord. You know who she remind me of? She remind me of Jodi Arias. Go look that girl up. Anyways, she says, if you don't answer, it's over forever. I'm not playing, Daryl. That's it. And then DDG said, I just want to be left alone, please. Like, he's over it. She's sending all these crazy. This girl seems like she's way more into him than he's into her. He's sending her one little message. That's a person that's just not into you. If somebody does this to you guys, if you're watching this, you need to leave that man alone. Don't be that desperate to keep chasing after a man who don't want you. And this man has made it very clear. Okay. Now let's keep going on with this. And then she says, I'm calling for help. And then she says, I have a knife. Okay, Halle, you scaring me, girl. If this is real, Halle sound like she a psychopath. This sound like something from one of those horror movies, you know, like Carrie and all of them crazy people in the movies. She sound like she done lost her mind. Why are you calling DDG for help? If you thinking you're really, okay, let's keep it real. This girl was not really suicidal. Let me be honest with you. She was using this as a way of manipulation. Now, on my channel, I've done a lot of stories about suicide. And usually when a person is really going to commit suicide, they'll just go and do it. They won't tell anyone. They won't write anyone. They won't warn anyone. If a person reaches out to someone and says they're going to take their life, it's usually because they want help and they're not really planning to do it. But if a person really wants to do it, they won't say anything. So I think she was using this as a way to control him, because that was her only way to get him to respond. You see how he's not even responding to her at this point. So again, she says, I have a knife. Let's see if he scrolls up. She says, I'm calling for help again. She says, but you don't care, do you? Okay. And then he says, have a knife for what? And he put that in capital letters. You see how calm he was right here. Now he's like, see, he knows that she knows that he don't care about her like that, right? So her only desperation plea is to tell him that she's going to kill herself. That's the only way she thinks that he will listen to her. And people have blamed this on postpartum. And at first I was on the side of that. But what made me change my mind is the date here. This happened March 10, 2022. This was exactly a year before she was pregnant. So we can't blame this on postpartum. We can't say, oh, she did this because she was emotional about her child. She wasn't pregnant a year before this. So this woman, clearly, if this is true, she has mental health issues and she's unstable and she's not healthy to be in any form of relationship, because any person who threatens to take their life as a way to control, manipulate, and inflict emotional abuse upon a spouse, that is disturbing, and that is a person who should not be in any type of relationship, if this is true. Okay? And this is sad if it's true, because DDG was going through it if this is true. Okay? Then DDG says, let's see if this is, I don't know if this is. After that, he tells her it's not that deep. Oh, right. No, sorry. That's not what he said. Let's get to the next part. Okay, so she says, I don't like how this thing just skips so fast like that. Sorry, guys. Okay, she says, I have a knife. Let's see if he scrolls up because it's not really working correctly. I'm calling for help, but you don't care. Okay, I have a knife. And then he says, have a knife for what? And then he's about to scroll it down some more. Okay, that's when we go get to this part. Okay, let's stop here. Then she said, I called because I needed help, but you've shown time and time again that you just don't care. And that's okay. Whatever I decide to do is none of your concern. Now, what she's doing here is she's trying to manipulate him. She wants him to react. So she's trying to say things that she knows he's going to react to. She's like, oh, whatever I do. If she really didn't care about her life at this point, she wouldn't be doing all this. She wouldn't be telling him these things. She's saying it just to get him to react. She's like, just leave me in peace. And she's saying the very opposite of what she feels. She wants him to care. She doesn't want him to leave her in peace, but she's saying the very opposite of what she really means. It's manipulation. It's actually mental abuse, to keep it real. Poor, if this is true, this was an abusive relationship towards DDG, if it's true. Then DDG responded within less than a minute. He said, I came there to check on you. For you to act like you're gonna hurt yourself to make me feel some type of way is manipulative and selfish. I never thought you would do nothing like that. And this is March 2022, way before she was pregnant. So this whole postpartum thing is not an excuse. This, she said, I never thought you would leave either. Guess I didn't know you at all. Again, she's manipulating him at this point. And nobody's acting like anything. Because, like, she's manipulating him because, like, why would, just because he leaves, you're going to use a knife to stab yourself? Like, it's extreme reaction, basically. She says, and nobody's acting like anything. Whatever I decide to do is my decision. Don't feel sad either. It's cool. Again, she's manipulating him. She knows it's not cool in her mind, but she's trying to manipulate him to get him to react and come back, because she knows he doesn't care about her and he won't come back on his own. So she's going to be desperate. And a lot of these celebrities have mental health issues. They're not as happy as people think. People out here wish to God they was famous, but a lot of these famous people are lonely. They have nobody else. They're miserable. They're depressed, and they're suicidal. A lot of them are suicidal. Mind you, guys, note that Cardi B years ago threatened to take her life. Like, a lot of these celebrities are suicidal. It's very sad. They're not as happy as people think. Anyways, DDG says, you literally told me to leave. This push and pull, SHIT. Again, that push and pull. Remember in her song she did back and forth? This whole relationship, push and pull. She was talking about her relationship. This is crazy. He said, you literally told me to leave. So here's the problem. Halle been mentally abusing this man. So they're at the house together, right? She told him to leave, but she didn't want him to leave. But when he left, she got mad because he left. So then when he leave, then all of a sudden she threatened to get a knife to kill herself because she wanted him to come back. This don't make sense. DDG was going, oh my God, oh my God. Halle put him through a emotional roller coaster. If this is true, like I said, if this is true, this is crazy. And the reason why I said these messages look weird is like the titles are weird. It says Daryl's iPhone, Halle. It's just like not normal. But like I said, now it kind of makes sense that maybe if the attorney subpoenaed these records from his phone company, it might look weird like this if they ask for it in the transcript form. So we shall see at court. But anyways, let's go back to the messages here. He said, I'm not taking this push and pull shit you keep doing is childish. So she's immature. But yeah, she's mind you guys, she's 25 and he's 27. So I don't know if the mental maturity there level's going on. I know women usually mature quicker than men, but it sounds like Halle's not really mentally mature, if this is true. He said, you keep threatening to leave me alone and saying you can F with somebody else, and I'm not sticking around for that. So DDG was like, you keep taking me back and forth. You're threatening to sleep with other people. I'm done. Like, I don't blame DDG. He was like, and she was mentally abusing him. She tries to use this as a form to control him. But then again, I understand Halle's part because he's sleeping with other women. So, and then again, I don't even know if he's sleeping with other women because, again, we don't know both sides. Anyways, Okay, now this is August 23rd, 2022. Again, before she's pregnant, okay? She put this thing like bet. I don't know what happened for her to say bet, but she said, I'm going to call you one more time. This girl is crazy. But again, we don't know the whole story. We don't know what fully happened anyway. But anyways, August 23, 2022 at 12:28, DDG says, phone is on airplane mode. I'm not letting you ruin my day over this bullshit. Then he says, the trust issues are becoming overwhelming. Maybe that's for the best. I put in too much time and effort into making you happy to have to deal with this bullshit every other day. Dang, she seems like a nut job, if this is true. Then DDG says, and in your eyes, you're never wrong. It's frustrating, and I'm over it. I'm no longer entertaining this argument. I need to work on becoming more successful like Jay-Z, like you said. Halle over here talking about you need to be successful like Jay-Z. You not it, boy. She over here downgrading him, telling him he's not good enough, demeaning his dreams, telling him his little YouTube dreams aren't gonna hit, not good enough. Dang, this is sad. Shoot, if these turn out to be real text messages, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to be on DDG's side, because how do we even know? Like, maybe these content videos, he was trying to be faithful and she just kept accusing him, because the way he's making it look, like she was accusing him and it wasn't true. She was making up stuff in her head about stuff that wasn't there. I don't know, y'all let me know in the chat what you think. Anyways, then Daryl says, then maybe you'll take my vision of becoming a big label owner serious. Okay, so he has a dream of being a big label owner, but she's like, well, if you want to be a label owner, you need to become successful like like Jay-Z. Halle is a mess. Anyway, he said that maybe you'll take my vision of becoming a big label owner serious instead of shitting on my dreams every second you get. Do y'all know those kind of people that be downgrading your dreams and not believing that you could be successful? He making Halle out to be that type of person. And then Halle does this manipulation thing again, talking about, you don't want to be with me. That's okay. Now, again, that's a lie. She's not having it. She's hurt that he doesn't want to be with her. So she's manipulating him, making him appear as though she doesn't care, but she really, really does care. She said, I will never beg anyone. Okay, but Halle, you've been begging him for 2 years now, girl. You should have been broke up with him in 2021. I don't know how this relationship went this long, y'all. I don't understand it at all. How did it go this long? Okay, she said, I will be successful. Well, Halle, I think this relationship might end up being her downfall. I'm not trying to be negative, because you guys remember, what's that? Keke Palmer. Remember Keke Palmer and her baby daddy, and she came out, filed her court documents, and he came back and filed saying that she was violent against him. I thought Keke Palmer was going to lose endorsements, but somehow she retained her career. So I hope that happens for Halle, but y'all, I don't know. This is not looking good. She said she's going to be successful regardless. Let's see what he got to say. Again, this is still 2022. This is before she's pregnant. Y'all got to know the timeline. She said, I don't need to be with somebody who's going to demean me. You like that I am insecure. And maybe he is doing that. Like I said, we don't get to see the full picture. We only see text messages. I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors that makes her feel like he's causing her to be insecure. Okay. So I can't really decipher who's right or wrong in this part of the text messages. Anyways, it says it makes me feel good. It makes you feel good about yourself. So she's saying he feels good about himself when she's insecure. And maybe he is. And maybe that's true. You remember people that are Halle's fans have said that DDG was jealous of her fame and stuff, and that he was trying to ruin her career and her reputation. And anytime anything good would happen in her life, he would basically do something to embarrass her. So I kind of feel Halle on this. And see, it's sad because Halle's fans kept trying to tell her this and she didn't want to listen. That's crazy, y'all. I knew she was lying, though. You remember when she did an interview about her Little Mermaid, and she was talking about that this relationship with DDG had changed her for the better, and she was so happy, and she's tired of people talking bad about her relationship because she's so happy. I knew she was lying. I'm like, girl, you being way too dramatic with this happiness stuff. I knew at that time, I was like, she being dramatic. I don't believe this. I think it's the polar opposite. I think she's really going through a volatile relationship behind closed doors, but she pretending like she happy. That's what I thought before all this happened. And look at, it's true. Okay. It's true. Anyway, she says, I'm not doing this anymore. Keep your phone on airplane mode. But when I die, don't say shit. See, there she go again with that die stuff. This is crazy. She keeps hanging her life over a little string. And whenever he ready to leave her, y'all, she ready to tell him she gonna kill herself. This is just crazy, y'all. This is right here got me emotionally drained out. If I was with somebody like this, it would be over. I would get a restraining order on her. She crazy. Anyway, she say, don't come to my funeral or anything. F you. Be happy that these are the last texts you get from me. And she lying. She about to text him again, y'all. All this stuff. Look at all the messages she sent him. He ain't sent one yet. This is crazy. How much is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 messages in a row. And he hasn't messaged her yet. This shows the imbalance in this relationship. This shows 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 messages in a row from Halle. 19 messages, y'all. That's psycho. This girl is crazy. And, at first I said I was questioning the authenticity of these text messages, but who has time with how much DDG is online to create this long volume of messages? Like, really? Now, I know DDG crazy, and he did make up that AI, but I'm like, y'all, this is getting more crazy. Let's keep reading this. 19 messages in a row. Anyway, she said, crazy how the one person I thought I could trust and be there for me constantly proves me wrong. You are wrong. You know that emotionally I struggle and have a hard time, yet when I obviously going through something, you ignore me until I go crazy. So the thing is, DDG knows how she works. And so he's saying he knows her triggers. And he does these things intentionally to trigger her. And look at this, guys. People keep blaming postpartum, but she's not pregnant this time. And she's already saying she has emotional issues. So it seems like Halle already has emotional issues. And it stems from her childhood because her family was very abusive. She comes from an abusive family. So she has mental issues already. And now she's in a relationship and she's exerting the same violence on a man allegedly that she saw growing up. Allegedly, if this is true. Okay. She says, you throw in my face my insecurities and laugh about it. Now, this part is sad because we don't get to see this part. And if he's doing this to her, that's just messed up. She said, you put your phone on airplane mode and you're not dealing with it. But when something bad happens, don't say anything, because this was my attempt to beg you to listen to me, to just answer the phone. So it's so sad, guys, because DDG, he never answers her phone. He ignores her. He puts her on he sends her to voicemail. And this woman is so desperate for this man. And this is 2022, again, before pregnancy, that the only way that she can get this man to respond to her is by threatening to take her life. If you ever get that low in a relationship, you need to leave that relationship immediately. That is crazy. Think about that. If the only way you can get your man to respond to you is by threatening to take your life, that relationship should have never continued. It's like that man don't want you, and you're basically coercing that man to be with you, a person that don't want you at all. Look, this woman Halle sent 19 messages in a row, and he has not responded to one. That's just crazy. When you get to that point, it's like, girl, you crazy at this point. You need to end that relationship. The man, you're in a one-sided relationship. You're not even in a relationship. If you gotta always say, I'm about to kill myself, and that's the only way he responds to your messages, girl, bye. Leave that relationship. You're not even in one. You with yourself. That's crazy. Okay, she said, what she said? She said, yeah, because this was my attempt to beg you to listen, just answer the phone, just hear me. Halle, girl, you doing too much, girl. I don't know what it is. Anyways, here she goes. She says, go back to fucking thoughts. That's what you want. You never wanted anyone like me. You and your family hate me. Now, they probably don't like you, Halle, if you out here hitting their son and acting crazy. That's probably why they don't like you, okay? Just admit it, but that's okay. Everyone does. But Poseidon. And Poseidon is her cat. Now, she's manipulating people. She's manipulating DDG here. She's claiming everybody in the whole world hates her. And she know good and well she lied. As close as she appears to be with Chloe, now I'm starting to question that relationship. Is that relationship fake? Are they just faking for the camera? Because now, I mean, she faked so much for this DDG relationship. I'm wondering if that Chloe relationship is really as pristine as they're portraying, y'all. That don't seem like it's a good relationship. And I always kind of question their relationship, how they were like dramatic online and hugging each other and being, I'm like, I don't know about that. I feel like that relationship is sketchy. But if it is if Chloe is as close to Halle as they claim, right? If they're still as close, I know they've been close since they were kids, but even when they see those videos when they were kids, Chloe used to get frustrated with Halle because she'd be playing around and she would be hitting Halle and all that stuff. So, I mean, I don't think they're as close as they're pretending to be, because if she over here talking about she's lonely and everybody hates her except for her cat, either she's lying to manipulate him or she's telling the truth and she has some very toxic things going on in her family. And her family doesn't support her as they pretend to be on camera. Like I said, everything that it appears to be with these celebrities is not really what it is. They just put on these fake little images of themselves when behind closed doors, it's not what it seems. And these celebrities, a lot of times when they're younger, a lot of their managers and stuff separate them from the family. I know I used to date, her. I used to date her's dad. And he told me that when his daughter became famous, they prevented him from having any contact with his daughter. He was not able to speak to her. They lied and manipulated her to make her think that her dad didn't want her and all this stuff. And he hasn't been able to see her ever since. It's sad. They ruined the relationship with her dad. So like, she doesn't see him anymore. So that gave me some clarity that sometimes these celebrities try to keep the kids away from their parents. It's really weird. They do these things and they manipulate the kids, the celebrity kids, into thinking their parents don't want them. So I don't know if Halle's telling the truth, but it just sounds weird because it's like what she's saying is stark contrast to what she shows us in public. Like we see Halle and Chloe hugged up and cuddled up on camera all the time. Like, oh, my sister, we reunited and blah, 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 blah. And then we got the older sister coming out to defend Halle. So I'm like, girl, why are you hanging on by a thread to this man who claims he doesn't want you? And you sent it out 13, 20. This is we up to like almost 30 messages and he has not responded to you, girl. And you claiming he's the only man in the world that wants you? That's a lie, because you've been showing us your family's still there. So if you really needed help as you are claiming you need it, you could have called Chloe. You could have called your older sister. You could have called your mom and dad. You could have called your brother. You mean all those people don't care about you? It sounds like you were manipulating this man to make him think you have nobody else but him, so that to force him to respond to you, because you've already sent this man over 20 messages going on to 30 and he has not responded to you. So you use threatening tactics, your life and how no one's there for you, to manipulate this man and control him. That's what it sounds like to me. Let me know what y'all think. Let's see. I feel like I skipped something. She says, try to understand. Oh, she says, okay, right here. She says, you know that emotionally I struggle. Just hear me. Try to understand, but you don't. Just answer your phone. Just hear me. Because this was my attempt to beg you to listen and you didn't want to listen. She's still trying to beg this man to talk to her. Then she says, I will go and fly and just be fine in heaven. So she's still talking about taking her life. And this is in 2022, again, before pregnancy. She said, I'm going to go and fly and be just fine in heaven without any of this, without any of you rude ass people making me feel bad about myself. Now, I do understand what she's saying right there, y'all, because you remember this is during the time when she was doing a Little Mermaid movie, and all them racist people came out, was talking bad about her and stuff. So she was going through that, and that's why she made that song Angel. So she was going through a lot of hate on social media, and then DDG don't want her, so she feel like nobody wants her. But she's still over here trying to threaten suicide again. Because look, he didn't respond to her this whole time. She been messaging. I think this is up to like 30 messages by now. She's like, you can show these text messages to whoever you want. Laugh about it. Laugh about it now. Goodbye. That's crazy. And that was at 12:51. 5 minutes later, DDG said, I was in the shower. If you want to talk, you can talk to me in person. Instead of eating food without me, and I never eat without making sure you eat first. Okay, I'm leaving. The doors are locked. You can come get Poseidon, your laptop, and stuff tomorrow. So he's just emotionally drained by this time. This is in 2022. This man has been going through it with her, allegedly, if these are true. He has put this girl through it. She said, I'm gonna go home. And that was at 3:13. So that was like an hour later or 2 hours later. She said she's about to go home. These messages are emotionally draining me. I don't know about you, but I'm drained from this court documents. This woman sound like she crazy. And if I was DDG, I would have been done with her years ago. And I would have filed a restraining order if I was why he scrolling up? Sorry, guys, we got to go back to the ads again. I really want to read these text messages because I just want to show you a picture of how crazy she sounds in these messages. So she says, if I die, you wouldn't even care. He said, I'm done texting you. What you do? Okay, guys. So for all 2022 in these months, she kept saying she was about to kill herself. So by then, DDG, he was done. He was like, at this point, do what you got to do. If you're about to kill yourself, just do it because he's tired. He has fed up with her talking about she about to kill herself. And he just over it, okay? She said, if I die, you wouldn't even care. And then she liked the part when he said, I'm done texting you, do what you got to do. So she liked it. Halle is crazy. And you guys, let me keep it real. Halle herself admitted that she's crazy. She said, I'm very toxic in relationships. I will yell. I will scream. I will blah, 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 blah. So Halle is not innocent. I know we've seen a pretty little mermaid, her little angelic voice. And you think she just gonna never heard a fly? Y'all, she crazy. She admitted that she crazy. So I'm gonna see if I can find that video that she tells you that she's toxic. So we'll get that pulled up too. Okay, I'm gonna pull that one up a little later. But let's keep reading this so we can kind of put all these pieces together. She sounds like she's batshit crazy. If this is true, y'all, DDG is in the right, and she's a crazy woman, and she has some people scared out there now. Like nobody would imagine that she would be this crazy in a relationship. Like, dang. Okay. Anyway, so she liked his message when he said, do what you got to do. Because DDG was over it now. He was like, forget it. Like, I don't even care anymore. You keep talking about you about to kill yourself. I'm over it. Now, this is why I told you these messages are kind of weird because we were just at 2022 and now they jumped to 2023. I'm just like so confused with the way things jump from different months. It seems like they're redacting a lot of the text messages, which again tells me that DDG is only giving a partial side of their life. And I feel like if I was Halle's attorney, I would ask for the full transcript of all communications because I would argue to the court that he's painting a certain picture to make it appear a way that it isn't, if this is true, and that he would ask for a complete record of the transcript to show a full chronological order of what happened. Because again, we were just at 2022 and see how it jumps over to 2023 in June. It's like confusing. That's why I was questioning the validity of these messages. I'm like, why are they piecemealing this message? This is really sketchy. It seems like something that the attorney put together themselves. They were deleting and cutting out certain communications and putting certain things in there, because how do they skip from 2022 all the way now, from March 2022 all the way now to June 2023? That's why I said I was questioning the validity of the messages. But anyway, he said, I would you just tripping. I don't know, he had a typo there. I would you just tripping and keep threatening to kill my unborn son. You're weird. I wouldn't feel safe having a child with you at this point. Okay, this is like I told you, they keep skipping the order, but here, this is when she's pregnant again. All right, so she keeps threatening to kill herself while she's pregnant with this child, and he's at this point, he's like, "You're weird. Like, I don't even want a kid with you at this point. If you're about to kill yourself with a kid, just do it. I'm done." He's like, "I don't even want to have a kid with you anyway, because you crazy." I don't blame DDG on that. He said, "Stop being fake happy to be a mom." So he's like, you pretended out here like you happen to be a mom, but reality, you out here talking about you gonna kill yourself. You're just fake. While the kid's like, I don't want a kid with you anyway. And then she says, weird. She says it back. She mocks him. She said, "I've had enough. I don't want to talk to you ever again. Please don't contact me. If you need to contact me, please reach out to my sister or Shermay." Now, guys, look at this. Didn't she just say in a couple messages earlier that she said she didn't have anybody? Now, all of a sudden, she's telling him to reach out to her sister. That's what I'm saying. She's manipulative. She is trying to manipulate him into thinking he's the only person that can save her life. And it's not true. She's just controlling him through that way. And then she talks about telling him not to contact her. But if you look, we've went through several hours of her messages, and you can see DDG is not really bothering her. Like, she's desperate for him to bother her. She's the one that's contacting him. It's like you're telling a person not to contact you who's not even contacting you. You know what I mean? Like, a person's not even bothering you, yet you're the one that's bothering them, and you're like, "Don't contact me again." It's like, but he's not even calling you, girl. Like, he's not even messaging you. You're the one messaging him. So it's like confusing. This message is confusing to me because I'm like, girl, he's not contacting you. Okay, he even blocked you. So you should have been left this man. Anyway, this is March 20. See, look, I told you guys, look at this. Is weird. Okay, this is June 2023, right? Look at how the timeline changed. It goes from June 28, 2023. Then it jumps over to March 21st of 2024. This is why I'm telling you I don't trust these messages, because they're taking out bits and pieces and chunks of messages, and they're reorganizing the messages. It's not in chronological order. It's jumping from different months. Now, I know they didn't talk. I know they just like didn't avoid talking for several months. That's just crazy to me, right? That's why I said I don't know if these messages are real. Like, how did it go from June 2023? It was in 2022, jumped to June of 2023. Now it's jumping over to March of 2024. This is just weird to me, right? It seems like they're piecemealing this together to try to create a picture. Notice how this message says June 2023, and it's talking about her being weird. And then whoever put these messages together, right, cut a bunch of information out to put weird here. They're trying to only piecemeal this to make it appear as though this woman is batshit crazy when we don't have all the full text messages. And why did they cut off all those several months of messages and then trying to put weird here to make it appear as though this is the message she sent in response to this text message when this is not the case? We don't know what she's calling weird because they cut off all the communications that led her to say this. This is why I told you, you can't believe everything that DDG has in this, because it seems like that even the attorney that's representing him is being snaky. And this attorney was recommended by Adonis, you know, that guy who's sketchy, who talks bad about Black women and all that. He's a white guy that's online, a YouTuber that talks bad about people. Well, he's the one that recommended this attorney to DDG. And this attorney already is coming out to be very unethical to me and sketchy, because he's over here piecemealing the text messages, trying to put pieces together to make it look like it goes with the other message. And if you don't look at the dates, if I didn't look at these dates, I would have automatically thought this was in response to this, but it's not. It's something else she's calling weird, and it's out of context because we don't know what she's saying is weird. They're just making her look crazy. He does crazy stuff to her, right? And then she's reacting to what he's doing to her, and all they're doing is giving her reaction. They're not telling us what he did to her to cause her to react this way. This is why I said I don't really believe DDG's side of it. I feel like he's playing. I feel like his attorney's playing. I feel like they're piecemealing this story together. They're only giving her reaction to the crazy stuff he's doing to her, and then they're making it look like she's just this batshit crazy woman that's out here just losing her mind. That's why I'm saying I hope on Friday we might get a better picture of what's going on, because you know how there's always three sides to a story. Both of them are going to give very biased sides to their story, and it's going to be up to the judge to be able to hold an extensive hearing to bring on witnesses to figure out what's going on. Because at this point, if this judge isn't smart, and if he's not looking closely at this, this attorney's trying to paint this picture that this woman is just out here randomly acting crazy, but they don't know what he said or did to make her act this way. He might be, you don't even know. He might be at her house or whatever, talking to her, telling her, you know what, your life doesn't matter. You should just go ahead and end it. And then she goes in a text message talking about she about to kill herself. We don't know, because this attorney's over here cut piecing certain messages and putting other messages that don't go with the other message, but making it look like that. This attorney's snaky. And I'm an experienced attorney, and I will tell you this: a lot of attorneys, they do snaky stuff like this to lie and cheat. They do like little messy stuff like this. They'll even like misquote the law to try to represent their clients. And this is what it looks like to me that this attorney's doing. He's being very sneaky with the messages. But anyways, let's go back. It just really irritates me that I keep seeing this. But anyways, so this is a whole different situation that she's calling weird. Now, mind you guys, we don't know what he did to make her say this. This has nothing to do with this comment here. Then March 21st, 2024, she says, I've had enough. I don't want to talk to you ever again. Please don't contact me. If you need to contact me, please reach out to my sister or Charmaine. So obviously he did something crazy to make her react this way. But again, this attorney and DDG is not telling us that part of it. Then she says, 2021, I hate you. You are the most horrible person I've ever met. Now he must have did something crazy again last year, but I don't know what he did. She said, I wish I didn't have to fight with you, but you continue to let me down every time. Now, I don't know if this is the situation when he called, he said that, what's that girl? Her name is Sexy Red. He said she was a good rapper. I don't know if this is the situation, but she said, I wish I didn't have to fight with you, but you continue to let me down every time. And you spoke about exchanging my son. I don't know what that part says. In a money deal for views. So she doesn't like that he's trying to do the money deals and openly flirt and help every other woman in the world but me. So we read this one earlier. You hate me and you want me to die. I want to die because of you. Now this part right here, this made me think, does he tell her that she needs to die? I don't know. I don't know if what he's saying to her verbally. She says she wants to die because of him, and she said, I will die because of you. Now, DDG be doing some messy stuff online. He tries to tarnish her career. He's done that throughout their relationship. So I could see why she thinks that way, because being a celebrity, your reputation is everything. Without your reputation, you can lose deals, sponsorships, all kinds of stuff with fans, all that. That's your livelihood. So you know, if she doesn't have anyone else, and if her record label has isolated her from her family, that could make her suicidal. So again, these celebrities are going through a lot more stuff than, we know. So there's another factor that we need to think about when it comes to Halle as being a celebrity. It's not all roses and happiness. And she said, it's your fault. So I don't know what she's mad about here. Again, and they only give us bits and pieces of this, so we really don't know what she's mad about. She says, cry about it later. I just don't like this attorney's piecemealing this. This is not giving us a full picture. Let's look at the dates here. Okay, this is still March 21st, 2024. Okay. She says, or this is DDG. He finally responds back to her. She has to send, don't you notice how she has to send a long list of messages before he responds? He's just not feeling her. He hasn't been. This is 2024, you guys. We went through 2022, 2023, and 2024. Guys, she has been with this guy almost 3 years, and every time on all these messages we've seen, it shows that DDG did not want her any time of these years. Why did Halle continue to stay with this man? I don't know. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy to me. So DDG says, why do you want me to sit on the phone and listen to you yell at me all day? Dang, so she been yelling at this man all day? Oh my God. Then DDG said, you do this to me every day. So it seems like she be nagging him every day. A man does not like a nagger. I don't blame a man. They don't like a nagger. They don't want you to sit here constantly nagging them every single day. I don't blame them, okay? So Halle responds, this is still the same day. She says, I beg you for help. You know I don't have anyone. Girl, she lying. So she must have told DDG a story that none of her family cares about her, and that whole situation with Chloe is fake. I don't know, guys. This seemed like this story. There's more to the story than we know, y'all. What do you mean you don't have anyone? So are you saying you don't have Chloe? Is that whole relationship fake? Are y'all in secret competition? I don't know. I'm wondering, y'all. She said, I'm actively suicidal and struggling. And this woman has been threatening suicide 2022, 2023, 2024. This woman has been suicidal for 3 years straight. She is if this is really her, she needs to be put in some type of mental facility and be given some medication, because this is crazy to me. This is absolutely crazy. She said, I've been running to the doctor every day for help. She going to the doctor every day. This is after she had the child. She's still acting crazy like this. After she has Halle, and she acting crazy like this, going to the doctor for mental health. It's just crazy. And this makes sense to me now. You remember that time when he was on Kai Sinai's live, and she wrote this thing online. She's like, hey, you guys, I didn't, just to let you guys know, I'm out of town and I did not consent to my son being on anybody's live stream. And I remember DDG, there was something about the way DDG reacted that. He was like, she's going through some postpartum stuff, so I don't know what she's going through. So we need to be kind to Halle. I think he was being kind at that time because he knew the 3 years of psychopath type mental health issues that she had been displaying to him for 3 years. So he was trying to handle her with kid gloves, because for 3 years of this relationship, she'd been threatening to kill herself. So he was like, y'all need to be calm with her. But see, he didn't want to come out and tell everybody that and mess her reputation up. He's been trying to hold this back if this is true. And now it makes sense why he responded that way. Because I was like, why is DDG acting like she's some fragile little... I get postpartum, guys. I'm not trying to demean that. But I'm saying she already had been acting like this a year before she was pregnant. So I don't think it has anything to do with postpartum. I feel like this is something that's deeper than postpartum. The postpartum can add more to her mental health issues, but she already had mental health issues before this. Then she says, I've been running to the doctor every day for help. She said, and you still play in my face? I won't make it to my birthday because of you. Dang, Halle, girl. And not, mind you, this is a month before her birthday because her birthday is in April. I'm like, girl, you got this man I hope this is the last guy she ever lowered herself for again. I hope she really learned from this. And next time a man does this to her, she walks away the first time, because, girl, don't let a man ever get you to this point. She said, you have ruined me, all my happiness. You hang up when I'm begging for help. You're the only help I used to have. Girl, this don't make sense again. How is he the only help? You have a godmom. You have Chloe. I'm just like, girl, you have your older sister. You have your brother. You have all these people around you. And you say he's the only one? Like, you lying, or you doing something? And she said, and you're so focused on being famous and having money. That's why you shouldn't be with a content creator, Halle. I'm sorry. You just shouldn't. She said, when you don't even see what's in front of you, because he don't want you, girl. Look how many messages you just sent him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You sent him 10 messages in a row and he hasn't responded once. Girl, he don't want you. Like, how clear can I be? It's obvious. Girl, you should have gave him up in 2022. Why are we in 2024 with a kid? Why? Guys, y'all can learn a lesson from this relationship. Don't ever get to this point. Okay. She says, how could you go to Mexico and be with someone else? This is when she slept with that girl, Lala, I showed you a picture of earlier. She said, how could you openly talk shit about me to all your family and all the women you want to sleep with? Now, this is when they're broke up. Well, no, back up. No, they did not break up. March 21st of 2024, right? They were supposedly in a relationship. Supposedly. Again, they're back and forth, so we don't know how the relationship is. So she said back in 2024, remember DDG announced his breakup October 2024. So now, again, they weren't really telling us stuff, so we don't know if they broke up or not, to be honest. But if they were together during this March time period, she's saying he's trash talking her in front of the women that he's with. And I can believe that because he's done that on live. He's kind of messy. He'll be like, you know, I couldn't do a collaboration with this one female rapper because my girlfriend wouldn't let me have it. So he does talk bad. You can see how he probably does talk bad about Halle to other women and his family. So I can see that. She says, you want to ruin me and you succeeded. Girl, don't let him succeed. Stop giving this man control. Like, you're letting him win. Leave him alone. Like, you got too much going on. You are literally signed with Beyonce, girl. Like, focus on your career. You damaged your whole career. Halle is so talented, and she literally threw her career into the freaking sewer. She could have already released her first single album. She hasn't because she was so focused on this man who don't want her. She's like, I hope you're happy. I didn't make it. I tried. Again, 3 years of this suicide stuff. This is like, girl, Halle needs some therapy. I hope somebody is helping her right now because if she really is suicidal, these messages are probably have tipped her over the edge. I'm just being real. So y'all need to pray for that girl right now. Please pray for Halle. Everybody just please pray for Halle. She says she can't do this anymore. Again, this is March 21st, 2024. Dang, I'm tired of her talking about this killing herself stuff. She said, you can make up whatever story you want to tell people about how I am and how I used to be. Now, I don't want you guys to think I'm taking suicide lightly because I'm not. I take it very seriously, but I could see what Halle's doing here. It's not that she really wants to kill herself. She's just using that as a mechanism, as a last-ditch effort, like a form of desperation to control DDG, because whenever she just says she's going to leave, DDG doesn't really care. Whenever she tries to plead to talk to him, he sends her a voicemail. He ignores her. She sends him 19 to 20 to 30 messages in a row. He doesn't respond. So her last-ditch effort, as she sees this has been the only thing for the last 3 years that has worked. If she says she's going to kill herself, he responds. So now she has used that as her way, her last-ditch effort, her desperation to get him to respond. And if anybody knows psychology, when a person learns a certain behavior will get them a reaction, then they'll continue to do the same reaction. They'll continue to do the behavior that elicits the reaction. So because she says, I'm gonna kill myself, he responds, she just keeps saying it over and over again. And that's her habit. So I'm not downplaying suicide. I take that very seriously on this channel, but I know that she's not using it in a serious way. She's using it in a way to control and get a response from DDG. Notice, but look how you can see the pattern. She sent him now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in a row. We have not seen DDG respond yet. She says, I can't do this anymore. You can make up whatever story you want to tell people about how I am or how I used to be. You can make up whatever you want when I am gone. Tell everyone I'm crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait for you to realize how badly you fucked up and how you ruined me. See, don't you guys remember that story of that man YouTuber? I don't know if you guys know this story. There was this man YouTuber who was in a relationship with another female YouTuber. And they had been in a relationship for about 5 years. And she eventually got tired of his mess because he was cheating on her and she just got fed up. So she broke up with him. And so he was trying to find her to kill her and he couldn't find her because she left the state where she was in and was in hiding. So he was like, well, he's like, you're gonna regret this. I'm gonna make you remember me forever. And like, guys, right on her birthday, he went and killed himself. So this is some type of stuff these kind of deranged people do to control and control their spouses or partners. They use manipulation. They use suicide as a way to control, and it's very sick. And those type of people do need to be in some type of therapy or mental health, and they don't need to be in any type of relationship because that's something that's a mental illness that they're struggling with. And it is to be taken seriously because a YouTuber actually took his life. Actually, that was this year, right, guys? Let me know in the chat. I think it was this year or late last year when it happened. You guys probably know the YouTubers too because they were like online, very famous people. And he went out and killed himself because he wanted her to remember that forever. And the girl, like it was right before her birthday. It wasn't on her birthday. Sorry, guys. It was like before her birthday because she was supposed to go out and celebrate it. But she couldn't celebrate it because she was too busy mourning his suicide. He killed himself. So That's what this story that what Halle's doing is reminding me of that guy. It's like, dang, that these people will use their life as a way to cause pain. That is the highest form of toxicity you could ever get to. When you are literally willing to take your own life to make someone else hurt for it. It's crazy. And in the end, you don't win because that person's going to mourn your death, yes, but they're going to move on and they're going to find love. And the very thing that you were trying to prevent them from doing, they're going to do it. And they're going to have kids without you. And you're going to be in a grave somewhere and you're going to stop all the success and the legacy that you could have created on this earth because you was worried about this one person who just didn't care about you anymore. We have to do better, guys. We have to do better. So again, she's blaming him, saying he ruined her life again and he effed up. I'm getting tired of this. I don't know about you, but I'm already mentally drained. Like, these text messages got me mentally drained. I would be over her. I would be like DDG. I wouldn't even message her anymore. I would be like, girl, bye. He should have been filed a restraining order against her. Because this is fatal attraction. This is straight up fatal attraction, y'all. This is the type of person that will go out and end up killing you. If a person is suicidal, if they really are suicidal, then they will have no regard for your life. If someone tells you that they're going to kill themselves over you leaving them, you need to get out of Dodge and leave that person immediately. Cut off contact, get a restraining order. If you got to move out of the city where you are, I know that sounds extreme, but anybody who threatens suicide, that means they don't care about your life and they will probably take you out with them. And if you watch a lot of criminal documentaries, you'll see there were some people in these relationships who threaten to kill themselves and they end up killing their partners. So that's a person you want to get away from. And if these messages are true, I do understand DDG's perspective when he said he was scared for his life, that she might kill him in his sleep. He had every reason to feel that way. I mean, she's taking knives, she's taking his gun, that doesn't have a safe. This girl, Halle, seems like the type that would have fatal attraction and go and kill him. I don't know how it didn't even happen. Thank God it didn't happen. But she is that type of person. It's like she has a fatal attraction to this man. I wonder if she was already obsessed with him before she met him, because she was a fan of his before they even got together. She used to watch his channel and keep up with him. I don't know if she built this secret obsession with him before she even dated him and was like secretly obsessed with this man before they even got together. But anyways, y'all let me know what you think. Please don't get mad because I have an opinion about this. Just tell me your opinion. Okay, then she says, and any chance I had of having a good life and putting myself back together. She said, and you continue to ignore us. Girl, he has ignored you since 2022. Like, when are you going to see the truth? Oh, I'm exhausted. Girl, we've been reading your messages from 2022. He been ignoring you. Like, see, she reminds me of a type of girl that thinks if you have a kid, then it's going to make everything magically turn well for your relationship. They think sometimes that a kid is going to cure the problems in a relationship. And she's seeing that this is not it, girl. Just because you had a kid, that's not going to change what he has been doing since 2022, girl. If he's showing you he don't want you, don't go and have a child with a person who's already broke up with you. And then you was pregnant with his kid when he had already not been in a relationship. Girl, bye. I'm sorry, okay? She said, you continue to ignore us, me and your son. That's why I said DDG don't seem like he loved that kid as much. He be putting the kid online for content. It's like a content child. Oh, God, this is crazy, y'all. Oh, Lord. She said, me and your son are alone. But like, let me tell you this. DDG is a kind of like a deadbeat dad. He does post all this content online about Halle. But if you're not financially providing for your child, to me, you're irresponsible. You should not have Halle out here or a woman out here solely financially taking care of your kid, but yet you want to spend time with the kid when you feel it's convenient for you. So DDG is wrong for that. Anyway, she says, you don't care about us anymore. You never did. Yeah, Halle, he never cared about you, girl. You should have been seeing that in 2022. Anyway, we still in March 21st, the same day. He says, DDG says, you want to kill yourself because I tweeted Sexy Red a good rapper? This literally makes no sense. Oh my God. You guys, this is crazy. Halle said she was about to kill herself because he said Sexy Red was a good rapper. I'm done. I am done. If that's really why she threatened to kill herself in this situation, Halle is the problem, y'all. That is petty. You gonna go out, kill yourself because he said another female rapper is a good rapper. Girl, Halle crazy. So she sent him an audio message. I wish I knew what she said here, but this is still okay. Now, this is the problem. Look at this, guys. This is why I said they're manipulating the story. We're March 2024, right? Now they jump to March 9th, 2023 in the same. Why are you bouncing from 2024 of March? Now you're going to 2023. This is why I told you these messages are chopped up and reorganized in a way to manipulate the reader. They keep going back from 2024. Then they go back to 2023. All this stuff. And then now you're back to 2023. This is crazy. Do you guys see this? I don't get it. Why are they changing the messages? That's crazy to me. I know they're not really, I guess you're saying it's exhibits, but if it was a different exhibit, then they would label it. This is all one exhibit. You see it's going from one exhibit to it's the same exhibit. Usually when there's a different exhibits, it'll be on the very top. It'll tell you if it's a new exhibit. But this is the court filing. And they're jumping from 2024 and they're going back to 2023. And so it's like chopping up the communication. And it's making it seem like it's a one correspondence. If the attorney is making them into separate exhibits, they normally will label that, and they didn't. So that's why I'm saying this doesn't make sense to me at all. They're trying to create a narrative from this disjointed, disorganized email chain. Like, what is the intention for them chopping up and putting different things together? So this is a whole different conversation. We're going all the way back to 2023. I'm just so confused. Again, we don't know what she's reacting to. Why did he decide to put "you won't"? We don't know what she's saying this responding to. They're just creating a narrative to make this girl out to be crazy without giving us a full picture. It's like, we don't know what she's reacting to. We don't know why she's saying "you won't." She's saying everyone's against me. Again, we don't know why she's saying that. It's like, it doesn't give us context. Okay, if they labeled it where, honey, because we're looking at it in order, and he's going through the whole, this is the court document. See? They're going through the whole document in order. They didn't label it. They labeled it Exhibit 4. I showed you the Exhibit 4, and they kept it all. This is all included in Exhibit 4. So if they're trying to do different exhibits for different discussions, they're supposed to take this page, since it's now going back to 2023, and they should have put at the top here, they should have put Exhibit 5. But they didn't. They just put it all in one thing to make it look like it's all the same communication. That's the problem that I'm having. And that's why I'm having issues with the credibility of the evidence, because it doesn't make sense. It's chopped up, disjointed. And I know some attorneys tend to do this type of stuff. They manipulate evidence to make it a picture in favor of their client when it's not really what's going on, basically. So that's why you have to hear both sides to figure out what's really going on, because now we're all, we don't even know what's going on, because he's painting a picture of this girl. We don't even know what she said. Like, I don't know what she means by "you won't." I don't know what he said or what he did to make her say that. It's a useless text message, because it doesn't tell us what she's reacting to. And this was before she's pregnant right here. So now we're jumping back to 2023. This is so confusing, y'all. And then she's all, "Everyone's against me. I can't. I'm embarrassed and humiliated and tired. No one understands how I feel. I try." Again, I don't know what happened here. I don't know what he did to her. Everybody's jumping to DDG's defense, but he's not giving us the full picture. He's only redacting and reorganizing the messages to make it look like he's trying to make it look like a picture of this woman is just out here just randomly being crazy. It's weird. And then he says, "Hurting yourself won't fix anything. The internet shit is irrelevant. It's fixed already. Okay, so again, we don't know what he did. What did the internet thing happen in 2023? I don't think DDG is a multimillionaire, girl. Honestly, this is not a correct statement. She says DDG is a multimillionaire. He provides for everyone that's around him. He's definitely providing for Halle. First of all, she has proof that he doesn't provide for her. She put that in her court records as well. She said he's only provided once. Then if he was a millionaire, why is he telling his own viewers that he's living paycheck to paycheck, that he has to do multiple videos just to make enough money to pay his rent? If he was, or pay all this, he pays $40,000 worth of bills each month. If he was that rich, he wouldn't have to struggle each month to do all that. He said he has to do live streams. Go back to his videos recently. He says, I have to do live streams because I have to make money to pay my bills. If he's a multimillionaire, he wouldn't have to desperately. This man is online all the time, every day, because he has to get the money to pay these monthly bills because he's living beyond his means. And then you also have to know DDG rented that car for his son's birthday. He didn't buy the car. If he had so much money, he would have bought the car. He rented it, and he admitted to that later on. Then he got a $15,000 coat, and then he returned it the next day because he couldn't afford it. It's like these celebrities pretend like they're so rich, but they're not. Don't believe everything people say. Y'all believe everything he says, and he's telling you he's living paycheck to paycheck. If he's a millionaire, why is he living paycheck to paycheck? Why is he telling us that? He was serious. He was serious. He even told her in these text messages. If he's lying, DDG has told her in the text messages, go back to the court records. He said he makes $40,000. He has to make $40,000 a month, and he needs to make content. That's not a millionaire. If you have to struggle to get money each month, you're not a millionaire. He admits it in the own messages. He's not trolling if he's messaging his woman behind closed doors. He's telling his woman, why are you destroying my laptop? I need my content so that I can make the $40,000 money to pay these bills. That is somebody who's living beyond their means, and they're struggling to try to make that money. That is why he's always online. If he really was a millionaire, he could choose to be online whenever he wants. DDG doesn't have that choice. He has to make content. If he doesn't, he's not going to have the money to pay all the stuff. If the problem is DDG mishandled his money. He mishandled his money because he bought all these houses, bought all these things that he couldn't afford, and now he's struggling every month to make those bills. I bet you he won't go a month without doing content, because if he did, he would foreclose on those houses that he doesn't own. He doesn't own them outright. He has to pay the mortgages on those homes. So you could think he's a millionaire, but that's false. That's fake news. DDG is not a millionaire. Now, Kai is a millionaire. But DDG, he's not a millionaire. Sorry. And yeah, I am just chatting now because this is my page and I can chat when I want to on my page. I'm reacting to the people in the comments. He's not a millionaire. Sorry. He's not. He's not. He admitted it himself. Go look at the court records yourself. He says that he needs to make $40,000 a month. That is not a millionaire. A millionaire does not need to struggle each month to make money. And I'm just reacting to the comments. It's my channel. If I want to react to the comments, I can react to the comments. Like, he said he doesn't have money. Y'all over here trying to defend this man. I know y'all worship this man and y'all would kiss the ground this man walks on. I get it. There's people in the chat that would kiss the ground DDG walks on. They worship him. I totally get it that there's a lot of worshipers of DDG in this chat and they refuse to see the truth, but DDG has admitted it himself. If he is struggling that bad, and if he's behind closed doors in text messages in the court records telling Halle that she has messed up his money bag because she destroyed his laptop that he uses to make content because he has to make content to make the $40,000, that's not a millionaire. A millionaire, if he was a millionaire, he wouldn't have to record content every day. He would take breaks, come back, whatever. But he's saying he has to make content because he has to make money. That's what he told us. Y'all get mad at me, and he said it himself. Don't get mad at me. Shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Go back to talk to DDG. He said he's not. He said he's struggling here. Okay. Y'all mad at me, but I'm repeating what DDG said. Okay. Now DDG said hurting yourself won't fix yourself. The internet shit is irrelevant. It fixed already. So this is still her just being crazy, guys. I'm mentally drained. I don't know about you. I can't do it anymore. I'm mentally drained. I'm done. Y'all could go to that guy's channel if you want to watch the rest, because this girl got this is crazy. This relationship is volatile. I think the judge is going to find that both of them are crazy. They're gonna have to get mental therapy help, and they're gonna have to have joint custody, and it's gonna have to be a third party. That's what I said before. I don't think he's a millionaire. I know you guys worship him. There's a lot of pick-me-up up in here that want DDG, but he's not a millionaire. Sorry. If he was a millionaire, he wouldn't be struggling like he is. The man is struggling. He just is. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear the truth. I know a lot of these people, they're fans of these people, and they will do whatever they can to worship these men or these people, and you don't even know these people in real life. I met DDG in real life, and he's not the nice person that he portrays online. He's not. So don't believe everything you see. Thank you for coming to the live. This whole relationship of DDG mentally drained me, so I couldn't even read all the text messages. If y'all want to watch it, go to another channel. They have the gentleman has the rest of the text messages, because y'all couldn't do it anymore. I'm drained. Halle need help, and DDG need help. That's all I can say. Love y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.